ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ ನಮ್ಮ ಕುಡ್ಲ ನ್ಯೂಸ್ 24x7. ಇದು ವಿಶ್ವಾಸದ ಪ್ರತಿಬಿಂಬ.
ವ್ಯಾಪಾರಿಗಳೇ, ಉದ್ಯಮಿಗಳೇ, ಗ್ರಾಹಕರೇ, ಆಗಿವೆಯ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಟ್ಯಾರಿಫ್ ಸಮಸ್ಯೆಗಳು ಕ್ರಾನಿಕ್? ಆಗಬೇಡಿ ಯಾವತ್ತು ಪ್ಯಾನಿಕ್. ಇದು ನಮ್ಮ ಕುಡ್ಲ ಟ್ಯಾರಿಫ್ ಕ್ಲಿನಿಕ್. ಇಲ್ಲಿದೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಪರಿಣಿತರ ಟ್ಯಾರಿಫ್ ಟಾನಿಕ್. ನಾನು CA S ನಾಯಕ್. ವೀಕ್ಷಕರೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮ್ಮ ಕುಡ್ಲ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಟಾನಿಕ್ ಇದರ 313ನೇ ಸಂಚಿಕೆಗೆ ಸ್ವಾಗತ. ಇಂದಿನ ವಿಷಯ ಅಮೇರಿಕನ್ ಪಾಲಿಸಿ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಇಂಪ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ ಆನ್ ಗ್ಲೋಬಲ್ ಇಕಾನಮಿ. ವಿ ಆಲ್ ನೋ ಸಿನ್ಸ್ Trump taking over charge as President of United States, lot of expectations were there by almost all the nations in the world. It is said if US sneezes, entire world gets cold. So that is a saying. That means so much other economies are dependent on US economy. If there is recessions in US, it will be followed in other economies also. If there is unemployment, that will also be followed. So in this context, we would like to deliberate today on the topic American policy and its impact on global economy. We have two experts and economists with us. CA DB Mehta. CA DB Mehta is a well-known economist from our coastal Karnataka. He is chartered accountant, then cost accountant, lawyer and IRS also. He has vast experience in the field of investment, property matters, budget and whatever in financial happenings across the globe. Presently he is the chairman of Allegro Ventures and he is the independent director of Mangalore Smart City Limited. He was the vice chairman of Karnataka State Credai and chairman of Credai Mangaluru, and he has in its initial career worked in indirect taxes department of Government of India soon after his completion of IRS, and resigned such a prestigious job after working there for a decade. So he is the star player, not star player, superstar player in our business tonic episodes. CA DB Mehta, on behalf of our viewers, you are welcome to the show.
Thank you
again.
So
we have with us Rajesh Rao M, who is banking expert and he had illustrious career in our premier public sector bank, Canara Bank, as in various capacities, especially in MSMEs and credit departments of regional office as well as circle office. He has topped all India topper in officers exam of Canara Bank and all India 5th rank in BSRB exam also. He is also appearing in our show on the topics state budget, central budget, economy and MSME matters. He has written various letters to our PM Modi for the improvement as well as giving lot of suggestions how to make India Vishwaguru. Shri Rajesh Rao M, you are welcome to our show again. He is also our star player in various episodes. He has come. Before starting off our program, we have the tradition of briefing about major events of the week. ನಿನ್ನೆ ಚೈತ್ರ ಮಾಸದ ಶುಕ್ಲ ಪಕ್ಷದ ಹುಣ್ಣಿಮೆ ಹನುಮಾನ್ ಜಯಂತಿ. ಜಗತ್ತಿನಾದ್ಯಂತ ಹನುಮ ಜಯಂತಿಯನ್ನು ವಿಜೃಂಭಣೆಯಿಂದ ಎಲ್ಲ ರಾಮ ಮಂದಿರದಲ್ಲಿರ್ಬೋದು ಹಾಗೂ ಹನುಮಾನ್ ಮಂದಿರದಲ್ಲಿರ್ಬೋದು ವಿಜೃಂಭಣೆಯಿಂದ ಆಚರಿಸಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಹನುಮ ಅವನ ಒಂದು ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿತ್ವ, ಪರ್ಸನಾಲಿಟಿ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ರಿಯಲಿ ಯುನೀಕ್. ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಹನುಮಾನ್ ಚಾಳೀಸ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಏನಾದರೂ ಕಷ್ಟ ಬಂದಾಗ ಅಥವಾ ಏನಾದರೂ ಧೈರ್ಯ ಬೇಕಾದರೆ ಹನುಮಾನ್ ಚಾಳೀಸ್ ಪಠಣ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಅದರಿಂದ ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಫೂರ್ತಿ, ಧೈರ್ಯ ಎಲ್ಲ ನಮಗೆ ಸಿಗ್ತದೆ. ಬುದ್ಧಿರ್ಬಲಂ ಯಶೋಧೈರ್ಯಂ ನಿರ್ಭಯತ್ವಂ ಅರೋಗತ ಅಜಾತಂ ವಾಕ್ಪಟುತ್ವಂಚ ಹನುಮಾತ್ ಸ್ಮರಣಾತ್ ಭವೇತ್ ಅಂತೇಳಿ. ಅಂದರೆ ಬುದ್ಧಿರ್ಬಲಂ ಯಶೋಧೈರ್ಯಂ, ದಟ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಇಂಟೆಲಿಜೆನ್ಸ್, ಸ್ಟ್ರೆಂತ್, ಫೇಮ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಕರೇಜ್. ನಿರ್ಭಯತಂ ಅಂದರೆ ಫಿಯರ್ಲೆಸ್ನೆಸ್. ಅರೋಗತ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಗುಡ್ ಹೆಲ್ತ್. ಟೈರ್ಲೆಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಟೈರ್ಲೆಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಅಂದರೆ ನಮಗೆ ಯಾವುದೇ ಒಂದು ಅನಾಯಾಸ ಮತ್ತು ಮಾಸ್ಟರಿ ಓವರ್ ವಾಟ್ ಯು ಡೂ. ಆಲ್ ದೀಸ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಬೆಸ್ಟೋಡ್ if you tell Hanuman Chalis and if you pray Lord Hanuman. His blessings will always be there to all of those who ಸ್ಮರಣಾತ್ ಅಂದರೆ ದೋಸು ಯಾರು ಅವರನ್ನು ಸ್ಮರಿಸುತ್ತಾರೆ, ಯಾರು ಅವ್ರನ್ನು ಹನುಮಾನ್ ಚಾಳೀಸ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಹನುಮಂತನ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಯಾರು ಪ್ರಾರ್ಥನೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಸಿದ್ಧಿ ಸಿಗ್ತದೆ ಅಂತೇಳಿ ಒಂದು ನಂಬಿಕೆ. ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ ಟುಮಾರೋ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ 14th ಏಪ್ರಿಲ್ ಮಂಡೇ ಸೌರಮಾನ ಯುಗಾದಿ. ಸೌರಮಾನ ಯುಗಾದಿ ಅಂದರೆ ದೆರ್ ಆರ್ 2 ಟೈಪ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಯುಗಾದೀಸ್. ಒಂದು ಚಂದ್ರಮಾನ ಕ್ಯಾಲೆಂಡರ್ ಪ್ರಕಾರ, ಒಂದು ಸೌರಮಾನ ಕ್ಯಾಲೆಂಡರ್ ಪ್ರಕಾರ. ಸೌರಮಾನ ಕ್ಯಾಲೆಂಡರ್ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ನಾಳೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಸೋಮವಾರ 14th ಏಪ್ರಿಲ್ ಸೌರಮಾನ ಯುಗಾದಿ. ಸೌರಮಾನ ಯುಗಾದಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ವಿಷು ಅಥವಾ ಬಿಸು ಪರ್ವ ಎಂದು ಕರೀತಾರೆ. ನಮ್ಮ ಮಂಗಳೂರು ಭಾಗ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಕರಾವಳಿ ಭಾಗ, ಕೇರಳ ಇರ್ಬೋದು ಹಾಗೂ ತಮಿಳುನಾಡಿನ ಕೆಲವು ಭಾಗಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ವಿಷುವನ್ನು ವಿಜೃಂಭಣೆಯಿಂದ ಹೊಸ ವರ್ಷದ ಆರಂಭವಾಗಿ ಆಚರಿಸ್ತಾರೆ. ಸೌರಮಾನ ಯುಗಾದಿಯ ಪ್ರಮುಖ ಭಾಗವೆಂದರೆ ವಿಷು ಕಣಿ. ಅಂದರೆ ಇದು ಹಣ್ಣು, ತರಕಾರಿ, ಇತರ ವಸ್ತುಗಳನ್ನು ಬಟ್ಟಲು ಅಥವಾ ತಟ್ಟೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಹೆಚ್ಚಾಗಿ ಕನ್ನಡಿ ಮತ್ತು ದೀಪದೊಂದಿಗೆ ಪ್ರದರ್ಶನ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಇದು ಹೊಸ ವರ್ಷದ ಆರಂಭ ಮತ್ತು ದೇವತೆಗಳ ಆಶೀರ್ವಾದವನ್ನು ಸಂಕೇತಿಸ್ತದೆ. ಮತ್ತು ಆ ದಿನ ಸಾಂಪ್ರದಾಯಿಕ ಪಂಚಾಂಗವನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಓದಲಾಗ್ತದೆ. ಮುಂಬರುವ ವರ್ಷದಲ್ಲಿ ಉತ್ತಮ ಹವಾಮಾನ, ಉತ್ತಮ ಬೆಳೆ, ಉತ್ತಮ ಇಳುವರಿ ಹಾಗೂ ವಿವಿಧ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಗಳಿಗೆ ಶುಭವಾಗಲಿ ಎನ್ನುವ ಒಂದು ಸಂಪ್ರದಾಯದೊಂದಿಗೆ ಈ ಒಂದು ಬಿಸು ಪರ್ವ ಅಂದರೆ ಸೌರಮಾನ ಯುಗಾದಿಯನ್ನು ದೇಶದಾದ್ಯಂತ, ಜಗತ್ತಿನಾದ್ಯಂತ ವಿಜೃಂಭಣೆಯಿಂದ ಆಚರಿಸ್ತಾರೆ. ಅದರಲ್ಲೂ ನಮ್ಮ ಮಂಗಳೂರು ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದ ಭಾಗ, ಕರಾವಳಿ ಪ್ರದೇಶ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಕೇರಳ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ತಮಿಳುನಾಡು ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಈ ಎಲ್ಲ ಪ್ರದೇಶಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಇದನ್ನು ವಿಜೃಂಭಣೆಯಿಂದ ಅಂದರೆ ವರ್ಷದ ಪ್ರಥಮ ದಿನವಾಗಿ ನಾವು ಆಚರಣೆ ಮಾಡ್ತೇವೆ. ಸೊ ನಾವು ವಿ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಪ್ರೊಸೀಡ್ ವಿತ್ ದ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ American policy and its impact on global economy. What is the state of the economy of US as on now?
See, USA was doing reasonably well post COVID, and it was driving the global economy. In the last few months, before even Trump took over, USA had started slowing down, so as the world. If you look at Indian GDP, we had touched an high of 9% or 9.2% post COVID, but now our GDP is also slowing down quarter after quarter, year after year. So there was a basic slowdown happening, which was putting stress on the job market as well as the world economy. Post Trump administration taking over, the tariff shock has shaken up the world.
Earlier people used to tariff Trump.
Yeah.
Now they are talking about tariff of the Trump.
So it's like the impact is having such wide ramifications that only time will unravel every aspect of the tariff impact. But to say broadly, definitely the world GDP will come down by almost anywhere between 0.5% to 1%, depending on where this tariff thing stops, and inflation will again start raising its head. It will become difficult for world economy, the different countries, to reduce the rate of interest, and unemployment may again start raising its head. So it's shaken up the the global trade and the economy. So tough time aheads.
Okay. Now this, what is the problem with the US and China? Basically, when this tariff, Trump levied on China 34% tariff. Against that, reciprocal tariff or retaliatory tariff has been levied by China. Now, Trump has levied revenge tariff. Now, as high as 145% it works out. That means almost he don't want to import any goods from China. That is the way how he has levied the tariff. And before this 90 days pause, 90 days pause is applicable to all the countries except China now.
Except China.
Okay. What is the problem with China and US? And why China is so much having conflict with the US? Whether China economy is also very strong? Can you just brief about it?
So before that, I'll read out certain statements from top leaders of the world. We start with India itself. Our Piyush Goyal sir has told China has abused WTO in 2 decades. So these are all the things, these are the foundations by which
China
has abused WTO in 2 decades. So
now they have given complaint to WTO.
WTO. Okay. Then Trump has told, be strong, be courageous, greatness will be the result. I do not want China to spend our money on their military. These are all the reasons why Trump has imposed these tariffs. Don't need to ask India to align, but can bring it close. This is by JP Morgan CEO. Then, bitter medicine to cure dangerous diseases. This is told by Trump. US is on the path of wrecking world economy. This is by Jeffrey Sachs, Columbia University professor. Protectionism is bad. Unstable protectionism is worse. This is told by Singapore PM. He has given a beautiful 30 minutes lecture which should be heard by all over the world. It's the best speech by any prime minister. World entering dangerous phase, again told by Singapore PM. A recession has become likely outcome. This is by JP Morgan CEO. Then Peter Schiff is an acknowledged economist of the world. He says America is leaving beyond means. That should stop. So these are all the reasons for this tariff war.
Okay.
Now,
China. What is wrong with China and US? What is the state of economy of China?
China today, we call it as a dragon. It is really a poisonous dragon. It is really a dragon. It is not it is not a figurative word used. It is a dragon. Why I am telling is, 30 years back, Indian GDP and China GDP was almost same. It was around $300 billion than that, 280 or so. Today, after 20 years, after the present Prime President who came, Jinping, now he has become a real dragon of the world.
That means Jinping is the kingpin of China's economy.
He, I can say, is a financial dawn of the world. He has not, he has violated all WTO norms. In WTO, there is a provision called MFN status. That is, we have to treat everybody equally. It is not a particular nation to be favored, but is equal treatment to all nations. China has violated all those norms.
How come?
He has dumped all his cheap products all over the world. All over 200 nations of the world, he has spread his tentacles. He is just like an octopus of the world. All chief products of the world he has dumped in the world. He has made all the nations of the world, poor nations, as debtors, as beggars. So who is to stop this? If another 10 years, now the GDP of China is $20 trillion. GDP of America is $30 trillion. The difference between the GDP of these two nations is America is a defense-oriented economy. China is a global manufacturer. America is a global consumer. So now it's a fight between a global consumer and a global manufacturer. The second fight is between the established superpower and the upcoming.
If you don't manufacture, you cannot consume. If you don't consume, you can't manufacture.
So that is why
both are interdependent.
But what Trump is doing is he wants to bring back. And one more interesting thing is why China is today so great is only because of America. For the last 20 years, since 1971, for the last 50 years, America is feeding China. Because of American support only, China has grown like this. For the last 20 years, after Jinping came, every year the $200 billion is a surplus by China, trade surplus. So China is richer than America today by $4 trillion only because of US. So and all over the world it is spreading its poison. It has destroyed the industries of the world. Actually, Modi is the first person to challenge China in the real sense, not the US, not Trump. He has been doing it for the last 8-10 years. It's in a silent way.
But US is not supporting.
US it is not supporting. So to control China, it is a need of the hour today for the whole world. So now you see, now they have launched a digital currency. Around 87% of the countries, around 200 countries, they have tied up with China.
Digital currency
that is going to replace SWIFT and dollar also. SWIFT system and the dollars also. He is going to introduce his own RMB currency in the whole world. It is going to replace dollar. So these are all the dangers to the world. See, it is what is that called? It is more, America may be dangerous. US dollars in a way has destroyed the world economy. But Chinese RMB is going to affect the whole world more dangerous. It is more dangerous than America. So to control America, you need, to control China, you need these reforms. In the short run, it may be a short-term pain, but in the it's a long-term gain for not only America, to the entire world.
Now this tariff, different countries, different tariff. What is the basis of this calculation of tariff by Trump? Whether there is any basis or any formula, because normally what happens, it is reciprocal tariff means if I charge you whatever you export, import duty I will charge 10%, then you will also charge 10%. If it is 20, you will charge 20. That should be the reciprocal tariff. But here there is no link between the countries, those who are doing transaction, export, import. There is no reciprocal tariff calculation at all. How this calculation, this different rate for different countries, they arrived and announced? Can you just
before I answer your question, first let's understand what are the different tariffs US has imposed. The first is product specific tariff, that is steel, aluminium and automobiles, 25%, irrespective of which country it comes from. Second, against a country tariff, that's if you buy any oil from Venezuela, there is no, US cannot levy tariff on Venezuela or the country buying from Venezuela, but if you are buying oil from Venezuela and you are exporting to US, US will impose tariff on your products of 25%, which is over and above other tariffs. So trade with Venezuela is an absolutely no-no now. That's the second tariff. The third tariff it has levied against Mexico, Canada and China. Mexico and Canada it is 25% and China it is 10%. The fourth tariff he has levied across the world, all products imported into USA will pay 10%. So China happens 10 plus 10, 20% without the reciprocal tariff being added to it. India also has to pay 10% without reciprocal tariff being added to it. Then the fifth tariff it has imposed is reciprocal tariff. So all the confusion is on reciprocal tariff. That how this tariff was calculated, on what was the basis. Now USA, if you look at the trade deficit, it comes to 1.2 trillion dollars, which is roughly around 4% of USA GDP. USA GDP is around $30 trillion.
Correct.
Now we all know even India's trade deficit is only 1.2% of our GDP. So USA is living a lot on imported products, manufacturing outside and consuming inside the US. So Trump wants to somehow balance this trade deficit. So that is his whole idea of bringing in tariff. So the way he has calculated is that if you export to USA say 100 rupees, but USA is able to export you only 50 rupees. What happens is
Trade deficit for US 50 rupees.
50 rupees between you and the US. US thought process is that USA is not able to export more to your country because of not only the custom duties or other tariffs you have put in, but because of various other policies which you have implemented. Those can be a non-trade barriers, protectionism, subsidies given to your businesses, say like PLI scheme. Government is giving subsidies for electronic manufacturing, anti-dumping duties, various other policies each country deploys for protecting their trade and industry. So all put together, the US thought process is that they are not able to export to your country as much as they are importing from your country because of not only the tariffs, but because of non-tariff barriers. So he has taken that as a presumption and he has calculated whatever is your trade deficit with their country divided by import
divided by 2.
So with India, the trade deficit of USA is 52%.
How this formula came? Like Newton and all new formula, Trump formula.
See, I would say it is not as foolish as people are making it out to be. Because finally trade between two countries.
See, deficit or surplus arises based on your export and import. How this
trade deficit comes about, the trade comes about between two countries, not only because of the tariff you impose, but because of non-tariff barriers each country has against the other country. Say like USA cannot export agro products to India. I'll give you a simple example, milk products. It has to be certified that the milk used in the milk products is taken from bovine animals which has only been fed non-animal feed, means vegetarian feed. Now you cannot certify in any way because you don't know from which cow or which dairy or how many millions of cows that milk has come into the product. That certification is just impossible. So USA cannot export any dairy products to India, and this is non tariff barrier. So like that there are a lot of like GMO crops. India is not allowing any import of GMO crops. Now America only grows GMO crops. It does not grow so much of organic crops. So this non-tariff barriers inhibits or restricts American export to other countries. So the formula is based on that. It's not so illogical. I find there is a logic to that, but it's everyone's call on it. If you look at point-to-point basis, India's average customs duty, including crude oil what we import, is around 11%. So if you look at from just the duties to duties,
Custom duty or import duty?
import duty, custom duty is only imports.
Okay.
Okay, so average custom duty is around 11%. But we forget, above 11%, there is additional customs duty, there is additional surcharge, there is additional cess, there is VAT. If you add all that, it comes to almost 35%. So whatever imported goods you buy, by the time it's sold, 35% duties are collected in different names. So taking into all these calculations, the 26% reciprocal tariff is not so way out. We can definitely bring it down, but it's not outlandish. That's how I would put it. And we should not forget, 26% reciprocal tariff is over and above the 10% tariff put across all the countries. So the total tariffs India has to pay is now 36%, not 26%. 10 plus 26.
10 plus 26.
Yeah, 10 is not negotiable. Only 26 is negotiable, which is a reciprocal tariff, which has been put on a hold for 90 days now.
Pause.
It's in a pause mode right
There is a saying, घर में चूहा आएगा तो घर को आग नहीं लगाना, खाली चूहे को मारना. Now, Trump's policy, it has adversely affected even American economy. Now there, see, when they put so much tariff, when their own citizens, people import from other countries, the goods becomes more dearer. Then definitely their purchasing power will come down, inflation will increase, again it will lead to further recession. What is your opinion? अभी घर में चूहा आ गया है, लेकिन चूहे को मारना, not to आग नहीं लगाना घर को, अभी ऐसा हो गया. Is it true, and how, whether it is correct?
Now, one more thing we have to see, China is not a major partner of US in the sense. Compared to the percentage wise, if you see, Chinese trade is only 15% of the global trade of US.
But China is a manufacturing hub of the world. 60% of the total manufacturing of the world comes from China, and 30% of exports of the world from China alone.
So, what he should have done is, now at the hindsight we have to discuss. He should have, if he is not happy with China, he should have restricted his policy only to China. The other nations are not create any problems for him.
ಎತ್ತಿಗೆ ಬರೆ ಬಂದ್ರೆ ಎಮ್ಮೆಗೆ ಜ್ವರ, ಎಮ್ಮೆಗೆ ಎತ್ತಿಗೆ ಜ್ವರ ಬಂದ್ರೆ ಎಮ್ಮೆಗೆ ಬರೆ.
I don't know, Mehta sir has to compliment that. Why he has done it? That is the question now. Why he was not properly advised to do it? There must be some logic behind it. That is not explained yet.
Maybe everybody should come to him for negotiation.
No, now you have gone against your allies. Canada and Mexico is the major trading partner of US. You have imposed tariffs on them. You should have discussed with them. EU is your natural friend. So these three people who are your best friends, they have become your enemies. So instead of what you should have, there should have been a preparative framework. You should have discussed in advance with them. I'm going to do this. What is your opinion? You have to discuss with your friends, no? So that means you are not friend of anybody. Are you a global enemy? See, this impression is created now. Everybody is thinking that America is more dangerous than China. It is not like that. You should have explained that is one part. So now what you have done, what you have achieved now? Nothing. You have shaken the whole world, you have destroyed the whole world, now you are again repairing it. It is not the correct, it is not a wise decision on the part of Trump. That is the one thing. So why it is happening, again I will give you some policy changes he has made in the US. So that is the background of this. This is not the sole thing. It is part of the major policy restructuring he is taking in the whole, in America. What he is doing is just like Modi ji has done Swachh Bharat. Now he is doing Swachh USA. And I will give you some policies which is announced on the first day itself. On 20th of January, he has announced 100 plus policy changes. I will tell you some of them which will help you to think why he has done all these things. So the first one is America first, yes, just like India first. America first, and they said MAGA. MAGA is Make America Great Again. Make in US, just like Make in India, he has said Make in US. This is the first part. Second thing is, he has demolished that US aid all foreign nations of the world, all anti-national activities that are happening in the entire world, that was funded by US, which was not aware of, were not aware of. It was through NGOs. So that has been cut
Deep
through.
states.
Deep state. Deep state involvement in the whole world was not known to the world. It is only after Trump came in we came to know about it. So now he is facing that. He is facing two enemies now, within the nation and outside. Outside it is China. Within the nation it is deep state. So he is
China is a Shatru and these people are Hitashatru.
Hitashatrus. So he is handling two people at one stroke. Then he wants to bring down his external. We have to understand. We have to set in his position and now think. We should not blame America also. What is his position now? His external debt is $36 trillion. So how is he going to repay it? He has to increase his revenue. So this tariff, he says, I am going to increase revenue by $500 billion in every year now. I am going to reduce my external debt also. So it is
That
fair.
to GDP is around 124%.
He has to bring down
India
the
is around 80%.
80%. So that is one thing. Second thing is external debt, neutralizing deep state. Then no Ukraine. That was a bold step by him. He has almost 50% is there to stop the war, but other factors, EU is still continuing support. That's a different issue. But he has expressed intention to stop a war. So he's a global peacemaker. So we appreciate all these things. Then,
but Iran is now creating.
that was there earlier also. That is there for a long time. Then DOG, he has appointed a committee called DOG, Department of Government Efficiency, headed by Elon Musk. See, there he says $5 trillion funds are missing from the financial system of USA. They don't know where money has gone.
Oh my God.
$5 trillion.
ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ ವಾಲ್ಮೀಕಿ ಹೆಗರಣ ಏನು ದೊಡ್ಡ ವಿಷಯ ಅಲ್ಲ.
Then Atmanirbhar US is doing it. He says invest in America. Already 10 MNCs, top MNCs of the world have committed $5 trillion investment in America. He has issued that gold bonds, gold cards, he says. $5 million gold cards. It is around Indian standard, it is 40 crore rupees. If you pay 40 crores, he will give you all the facilities, including green card. So he's telling our corporates to invest in America. And he's downsizing the government departments. Thousands of employees have been removed. Even higher education ministry is being closed down. It is against the constitution, they say, but he has done it. You should appreciate his bravery. He said, let the states take care of the education system. Why should we fund it? Nearly $1 trillion is funding by America every year for education. He said, let the states do it. So he is downsizing the economy. He is resetting the American economy first. So as part of that, he wants to reduce income tax. He says, no, we say not tariff is it is causing inflation. No, he has his own plans. He say, I will reduce the income tax.
Following the suit of India now.
So income tax I will reduce. I will compensate you for the inflation. So this is doing. Then, so there are many things.
So Trump is doing all these things.
No, I'll just add a couple of things so that your viewers have a better understanding. See, one of the major concern for the US was the smuggling of drugs, fentanyl especially, into the US via Mexican and Canada route. And the US, with whatever intelligence it has, it was a firm belief that China was pushing these drugs through Mexico and Canada into the US. So he wanted to punish these three countries especially for pushing drugs into the US. Canada, Mexico, and China is the main supplier.
Oh my God.
This is as per the US intelligence. So he wanted to retaliate and he wanted to take some steps against this. The second thing is what my co-panelist has said, that whatever tariff inflationary pressure will have will be offset by the income tax concession. There is a difference there. What happens is, when you give the tax concession, the major benefit will go to the larger taxpayers. The smaller taxpayers will have very little benefit.
Correct.
But the major expenditure is incurred by the smaller taxpayer, because almost 60 to 70% of their income goes into house, shelter, consumption, all those things. So the inflationary pressure will still be there. It can't be offset by just the tax relief. Okay. The third aspect is, the world owns almost $30 trillion. So like when we say India has a forex reserve of $675 billion, out of which $275 billion is held in US Treasury. China is holding almost $700 billion in US Treasury. Japan is holding more than $1 trillion.
Indebted to whom? whether US or China.
So it works both ways.
Uh,
Okay, now what USA wants is, instead of this money sitting in US treasury, let this money come as FDI into US, let this money be used for putting up manufacturing units, let more jobs be created within US. So that is the one of the main aim. So where the external debt also comes down, where the liability of paying interest on this $30 trillion US treasury is huge. You imagine today treasury yield is 4.5%. You on $30 trillion, they are paying almost 1.3 trillion every year
oh my God.
only as interest. So they want to bring down the interest outflow on this dollars held by different countries. And till the time US keeps consuming based on imports, the other countries will have more and more dollars in their hand, and it comes at a cost. So to cut all that cost, tariff was one easy way of bringing in positive revenue to the USA, so that other things can be taken care of.
Okay. Now, you have already told he has taken slew of measures to, in the best interest of America first policy. In spite of all these things, why there is so many protests in US and unrest, and why they are against Trump? Now we have seen in all channels and all, lot of protests are happening. People are against him for his policies implementation. What is your say in this?
It is just like you have to compare America with India. America is nothing different than India. If you see the changes happening in US now, we thought that US was a heaven-like thing. No, all problems which are faced in India is faced in America also. Even if you see politically also, if you see, even Democrats also like that. It is told that we used to, even for arranging rallies, in India we say we pay money to the people. Even America also it is revealed
Bringing
that
people in the bus and
now in the latest protest, no, all over the states, all 50 states, they say everyone, all those have been paid by the deep state. Now there is one more interesting thing happening in America. There is a fight between old deep state and new deep state.
oh, what is that old deep state?
Old deep state is led by George Soros, and the new deep state is guided by Elon Musk. It is not led by this thing. Elon Musk is controlling the American system now, and for that also there is a protest from the Democrats. Even Republicans are protesting that he is over influencing.
Like here we say Adani, Ambani,
Adani,
now
Ambani.
Rahul Gandhi says.
I would just add one statement here. Elon Musk has borrowed this phrase from India. Loha hi loha ko katega. So the loha, he lohe ko katega. Means iron can only cut the iron.
Correct.
So to cut the old deep state, if you don't have a counter measure, a counter deep state, you won't be able to dismantle the old deep state. Only precaution they have to take is that the new deep state should not become a bigger monster than the old deep state.
But one thing you should appreciate Musk is he has sacrificed his wealth by 50%. He was $20 billion. Today his wealth is $10 billion. It has come down. 50% he has sacrificed. Even his Tesla company shares have come down from $500 to $200. So in a way he sacrificed for the nation, we should say. We should appreciate Musk in that way. He's not going to destroy this.
I'll just add one more thing. Elon Musk Tesla cars was most bought in China. Now with this huge tariff on China imposed on US and US imposed on China, Tesla cannot sell cars in China. It will become too expensive. So that's a direct hit that Elon Musk has taken because
That's
of the
why he has
tariff
told
policy.
Trump to have pause.
Yeah.
But pause is
No,
not
pause
there
is not
now.
against China.
China.
Yeah.
So that's
So this is the issue. Deep states.
Deep
issue
state is the
there.
main issue. Deep state and China, these are the two things that Trump is fighting now.
Okay. Now because of this tariff war, what is the aftermath effect on US economy?
See, a wise man has said, when an elephant walks in your street, your house shakes. You feel like it's an earthquake. Now the elephant has started walking. That's the USA. So there will be a lot of earthquakes happening all economic parlance.
That is shaking only.
Shaking.
It is not collapsing.
No, it's
Building
not going to
collapsing
collapse.
and all.
Okay, so we all have to gear up based on what tariff is going to put on each country, and how the the trade agreements will be signed in course of 90 days on the basis of mutual negotiation. Here India has a head start because India has started negotiating with the US as soon as Trump came in power. And you remember our Prime Minister was the first state guest to visit USA after the Trump
Gujus are always smart, no? Modi may be the person, then Piyush, then D.B. Mehta.
So at the diplomats level, at the second and third level, the trade negotiations are already on with the USA. We should be coming with the trade document, the final agreement, maybe within 30 to 45 days. So we will be the first to be on the track to get a rollback on based on our trade agreement. And most 75 countries where the tariff is put on pause sign some or the other trade agreement. What USA wants it to see that the trade deficit with each respective country is not there. It is not only rationalization of some import duties by India will help USA. What USA wants is, I want to export the same amount as I am importing from you.
But they should have product to export from there.
We have to remove all the barriers which are non-trade barriers to allow those products to come in. Say India can as well import crude oil from USA, but it's expensive, maybe $2 more expensive than importing crude oil from say Saudi Arabia and Iraq. Russia is little more cheaper than other places, but Russia has a limitation. So we may have to sacrifice that $2 but import crude from USA. We cannot destroy our agro industry and our farmers by importing agriculture products from USA, because that will open a Pandora's box.
Correct.
A lot of other countries want to export their agro products into India.
Correct.
And that will affect our farmers very adversely.
Correct.
So we cannot afford to do that. But there are ways and means where we can bring down that trade deficit. We can import more aircraft, more arms, more fighter jets from the US. Rather than
from France we are taking.
Rather than buying everything from France, we can shift.
Tata has given a big order now for.
See, the price difference is the big issue between the defense equipments in the US and defense equipments from France.
What is the difference?
It's 1:2. It's coming at 50%
then why
cheaper.
we have to buy?
We have to bridge the trade deficit one way or the other. You don't buy aircrafts, you don't buy fighter jets, but you can buy other equipments which may be just 5 to 10% more expensive.
Okay.
So the approach of Indian government is not on the rate specific issues of customs duties, but on the trade deficit. How can we bridge the trade deficit with USA? That should be the approach. And India has to have a simultaneous approach with China. We are importing $85 billion from China.
China has now approached India to purchase more and more items from China at discounted rates.
Already we are in a reverse trade with China. We are importing $85 billion and only exporting $15 billion. In fact, India should approach China to buy more and more from India.
Okay.
Because the trade deficit is huge. Running a huge trade
What
deficit.
we can export to China?
Whatever minerals are there, metals are there, electronics are there, engineering goods are there, we can export. Even agro products we can export, because China is a big importer of agro products. So we have to have a separate trade agreement with China, where China increases import from India rather than the other way around. China wants to dump products into India, we can understand that, but it does not help India.
But to add to sir, India दोनों हाथों में लड्डू है इंडिया के अब. It is the only nation in the world which is enjoying the most here if you exploit it properly. So there are two things. One, America wants somebody against in Asia, somebody to oppose China. So India is the best country which in the world, is a democratic country also, which can face China in terms of population, in
But
terms
federalism is there now.
No.
Federal structure,
Hmm.
little bit
No,
hurts.
that is it is there. It is a system. It's a systemic problem. You cannot change it. So coming to this economic benefits, all those American companies who are in China, they can be made to shift to India. So this is one aspect. Then America has told invest in America. Our corporates can invest in America. Our people can go and get jobs there. So two ways, there is twin benefits to India now, if it is properly utilized.
Twin benefits.
Uh,
Okay. Now, what is the role of WTO now? China has given complaint to WTO. What WTO can do now?
See, WTO has been more or less non-functional, like WHO, like UN, all these World Trade Organizations.
Only IMF is very alert, because those who want money, they are giving money.
Because they are in a desperate situation, those who need money and especially dollars, they have to be part of it. So India can put itself in a very good situation, provided it plays on the right side of the USA. If we play on the wrong side of the USA, we will have also a lot of trouble. Because USA, with all its statements pro Modi, pro India, that Modi is my friend and all that, but the tariff imposed on India is on the same formula and exactly the same as tariff imposed on all other countries, including China. China was first imposed only 34% reciprocal tariff, but the trade deficit is 67%. Half of it is around 34%. Others are all revenge tariff.
But that is wrong now.
You know.
Trade deficit and tariff, what relationship we have?
No, I have explained to you
Yeah,
the
yeah.
logic behind that.
Logic
Okay.
is there, but there
So-
is, actually it is not
So that's the
baseless.
logic they have taken, because it supports their way
They have
of
to
looking at things.
export more products, that's all. US.
But what Trump thinks is, Trump has a very different vision. See, we should understand that, sometimes we see a lot of memes on Trump, but he is a much wiser man than what the memes project him to be. Not only he is looking at tariff as one policy, not only he is looking at make in USA, create more jobs for American, get more revenue for the US, cut off the trade deficit to the extent possible, cut off the fiscal deficit to the extent possible, reduce the external borrowing to the extent possible, at the same time to take severe step against illegal immigrants who are taking away American jobs to a large extent. Sometimes when we do things, we start doing it, we overdo it, and then in terms of bargaining and giving relief, we come back where it should have been in the normal course of things.
Correct.
So you cannot look at tariff policy divide of the immigration policy which he is having right now, where a lot of people are deported, illegal immigrants are deported. We cannot look at the anti-drug policy in the USA by disconnecting the immigration policy. Immigration policy is also, because all these drug dealers who come from Mexico or some other countries, they are basically all illegal immigrants doing drug business in and spreading drugs in the USA. So the policy which is implementing is all the three policies are all connected. It's all connected to each other. So USA, right now there will be all turbulence. The world economy will be slowing down, the global trade will be slowing down, commodity prices will be coming down. So like look at the crude price coming down. We all know if
Now it is the lowest in the last, I think,
4
3 years.
Yeah, if $1 crude price comes down, we save $1 billion. In the last 3-4 months since Trump took over, crude prices come down by almost $12 on an
Now it
average.
is almost 60 to
63 it is right now. It used
Brent,
to be
NYMEX is still
75,
cheaper.
26 when Trump took over. So we have already saved $12 billion in forex and in import because of the crude oil coming down. Similarly, other commodities like copper, aluminium, all the prices have come down. And India is an importer of everything. Our import deficit, trade deficit is primarily because we are importing more than what we are exporting. The only people who are very unhappy are the Indian women. because gold prices are going up. So whenever there is a global uncertainty, geopolitical uncertainty or
Those
geoeconomic
who are already
uncertainty,
holding gold,
prices
those
go up.
women are very happy now.
But new gold they can't buy because it's becoming more and more expensive, and it may become even more expensive as we move forward. It may touch 1 lakh rupees before we actually know within a few months it may even cross 1 lakh rupees. So the policy that Trump has brought in is a very thought out policies. Only thing is the way it has been delivered in a knee jerk reaction gives us an impression that these are all not thought out actions.
We should have learned from Modi ji actually. Even Modi ji is doing the same thing in a gradual way, in a phased manner. It is not at once.
Okay. Now, what is this free trade agreement? Now, many of the, especially even in India also, they want to make some free trade agreement with the various countries, including US. What is this free trade agreement? What are the advantages of this free trade
Free trade
agreement?
agreement is an agreement between two countries where there will not be such tariff wars. In some products there will be 0% also, where both countries can manage the trade
Without tariff?
Without
Free
tariff
trade
in some products.
Not
some,
all the products
not all the
without tariff, but free trade agreement and most favored nation agreement are combined into one. So what happens is, I gain on your strength, you gain on my strength, because each country will export different products to each other. So what I am exporting to you, I will put lower tariffs. What I am importing from you, you put lower tariffs, so that our trade between the two nations can scale up. And in some of the products, it can be even zero tariff.
We have free trade agreements now with some countries already.
We have, but with USA we don't have. With UK it's work in progress for so many decades. So our most free trade agreements are to the east of India. We don't have free trade agreement to the north and the west of India. Say like Europe, most of the Europe we do not have free trade agreement. Most of the, the Central America, the US
Russia.
and the Russia we have an agreement, but now because of the sanctions that has no value. So India also has to move with free trade agreements to the western hemisphere and the northern hemisphere, which is the developed world. And unless and until we do that, our exports also will not improve.
Even the European Union also are going to have a free trade agreement.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, European Union, they have united together to put that counter tariff on Trump. So, since Trump has paused for 90 days, they have also paused. So, what will be the impact if these European Union nations unite together and do such that is counter tariff on Trump?
That is the real danger now. That has to be properly handled by Trump. He cannot alienate his friends like this. Europe is his best friend. One thing. Second thing,
NATO.
If you allow China, if you are not united now, if China enters European Union, that will be the worst thing that should happen to the global economy.
Why?
China is going to eat up all the resources, is going to dump all its products into Europe. Europe, the GDP of entire EU is less than 1 to 1.5%. Its growth is stagnating now. All the nations of the Europe, our growth is stagnating. So if you allow China to enter into Europe by some agreement, saying that I will give you cheap products, what will be the position of European Union economy? So now that they should not do it. Better discuss with America and an agreement with America to prevent China from entering into these two economies. So
now Trump has taken pause for 90 days. Let us take a pause for 5 minutes. Viewers, let us meet break के बाद.
Celebrating the brides of now. Kahani, Bridal Stories by Bhima.
It's a new feeling. It's a new life. It's a new dream. It's a new
Come home to a beautiful new experience of life. Rohan Estate, Mukka, a brilliantly conceived residential development with amazing resort-like facilities, boating, kayaking, skating, badminton, outdoor gym and much more. Rohan Estate, Mukka. It's where your dreams take wings.
ರೈತ ಬಾಂಧವರೇ, ಸಿಂಪಡಣೆ 1, ಉಪಯೋಗ 2.
ನ್ಯಾನೋ ರಸಗೊಬ್ಬರಗಳನ್ನು ಶಿಲೀಂಧ್ರನಾಶಕ, ಸಾಗರಿಕ, ನೀರಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಕರಗುವ ಕೀಟನಾಶಕಗಳ ಜೊತೆ ಮಿಶ್ರಣ ಮಾಡಿ ಸಿಂಪಡಿಸಿ ಪರಿಣಾಮಕಾರಿ ಪೋಷಣೆ ಮತ್ತು ಕೀಟಗಳ ನಿಯಂತ್ರಣ ಮಾಡಿ. ಇಫ್ಕೋ ನ್ಯಾನೋ ರಸಗೊಬ್ಬರಕ್ಕೆ ಪರಿವರ್ತನೆಯಾಗಿ 50% ರಸಗೊಬ್ಬರ ಕಡಿತಗೊಳಿಸಿ. ಇಫ್ಕೋ ನ್ಯಾನೋ ರಸಗೊಬ್ಬರ ಖರೀದಿ ಮೇಲೆ ಸಂಕಟಹರಣ ಅಪಘಾತ ವಿಮಾ ಲಭ್ಯವಿದೆ.
ಫೇಸ್ ಪೂರ್ತಿ ಪಿಂಪಲ್ಸ್, ಸಹಿಸಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. ಹೋಗದೆ ಇರೋ ಜಾಗ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಹಾಕದೆ ಇರೋ ಕ್ರೀಮು ಇಲ್ಲ. ಯಾರಾದ್ರೂ ನನ್ಗೆ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ ಆಗುತ್ತಾ?
ನಮ್ಮಿಂದ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ವಿ ಕೇರ್ ಹೇರ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಸ್ಕಿನ್ ಕ್ಲಿನಿಕ್ ನಮ್ಮೊಂದಿಗೆ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಅನುಭವ ಪಡೆದ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ಸ್. ಸಿವಿಯರ್ ಪಿಂಪಲ್ಸ್ ಸಮಸ್ಯೆಗೆ ವಿ ಕೇರ್ಗೆ ಕಾಲ್ ಮಾಡಿ.
ವಿ ಕೇರ್ ನ ಸ್ಪೆಷಲ್ ಆಫರ್, ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಗಳಿಗೆ ಹೇರ್ ಮತ್ತು ಸ್ಕಿನ್ ಟ್ರೀಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಗೆ 50% ಡಿಸ್ಕೌಂಟ್. ಈ ಆಫರ್ ಕೆಲವೇ ದಿನಗಳು ಮಾತ್ರ. ಕಾಲ್ 9094255555.
ನಮ್ಮಿಂದ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ.
ಮೈ ಲಾರ್ಡ್, ನನ್ ಕ್ಲೈಂಟ್ ಕೇಳಿದ್ದು ಪ್ಯೂರ್ ಸನ್ಫ್ಲವರ್ ಆಯಿಲ್, ಆದ್ರೆ ಇವ್ರು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದು
ಡಬ್ಬಾ ಡಕೋಟಾ ಆಯಿಲ್.
ಇಲ್ಲಿದೆ ನೋಡಿ ಸಾಕ್ಷಿ.
ಈಗ ಫ್ರೀಡಮ್ ಆಯಿಲ್
ಅದ್ಭುತ. ಫ್ರೀಡಮ್ ನ ವರ್ಲ್ಡ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಟೆಕ್ನಾಲಜಿಯಿಂದ ಮಾಡಲಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಇದು ಎಷ್ಟು ಪ್ಯೂರ್ ಮತ್ತು ಲೈಟ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಎಣ್ಣೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಅಡುಗೆ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು.
ಫ್ರೀಡಮ್, ಹುಷಾರಾಗಿರಿ.
ಶಾಪಿಂಗ್ ಸಕ್ಕತ್ತಾಗಿದೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ?
ಹಾ ಡ್ಯಾಡ್. ಅಪ್ಪ, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಡ್ರಿಪ್ ಕೂಲ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಡ್ರಿಪ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಔಟ್ಫಿಟ್ ಕೂಲ್ ಆಗಿದೆ.
ಐ ನೋ ದಟ್. ಮತ್ತೆ ಇದು?
This is great, Dad. But right now, this is my vibe. Vibe ಅಂದ್ರೆ my type. Like this. Family ಗೆ ನಾವು ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ ಫ್ಯಾಮ್.
ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇದು ಫ್ಯಾಮ್ ಜಾಮ್.
ಈಗ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಾ?
ಎಲ್ಲ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ.
New times, new trends.
The world is evolving. Are you ready to lead the change? At Nitte Institute of Professional Education, we prepare you for the careers of tomorrow. Our BBA Honours program in Business Analytics, International Business and Banking, Financial Services and Insurance equip you with the expertise to excel globally. For tech enthusiasts, our BCA Honours specialization in Artificial Intelligence and Machine Learning, Cyber Security and Digital Forensics, and Cloud Technology and DevOps open doors to a successful future. With hands-on learning, expert mentors, and global career prospects, Nitte is your launchpad to success. Nitte Institute of Professional Education. Your future begins here.
ಮಂಗಳೂರಿನ ಆಭರಣ ಪ್ರಿಯರಿಗೊಂದು ಶುಭ ಸುದ್ದಿ. ಮಂಗಳೂರು ನಗರದ ಕೆಎಸ್ ರಾವ್ ರಸ್ತೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ರಾರಾಜಿಸುತ್ತಿದೆ ಕೃಷ್ಣ ಜುವೆಲ್ಲರ್ಸ್. ಹಿಂದೆಂದೂ ಕಂಡರಿಯದ ಸ್ಪರ್ಧಾತ್ಮಕ ದರದಲ್ಲಿ ಉತ್ಕೃಷ್ಟ ಆಭರಣಗಳು, ಆಂಟಿಕ್ ನೆಕ್ಲೆಸ್ ಮತ್ತು ಬಳೆಗಳು ಹಾಗೂ ಜುಮ್ಕಾ ನಿಮಗೊಪ್ಪುವ ವಿನ್ಯಾಸದಲ್ಲಿ. ಸ್ಥಳೀಯ ಮಟ್ಟದಲ್ಲಿ ತಯಾರಾದ 916 ಹಾಲ್ಮಾರ್ಕ್ ಪ್ರಮಾಣೀಕೃತ ಆಭರಣಗಳು, ಬೆಳ್ಳಿ ಸಾಮಗ್ರಿಗಳು ಮಿತ ದರದಲ್ಲಿ ಲಭ್ಯ. 0% ಮೇಕಿಂಗ್ ಚಾರ್ಜಸ್. ನಿಮಗೆ ಅವಶ್ಯಕವಾಗಿರುವ ಆಭರಣಗಳ ಖರೀದಿಗೆ ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿವೆ ವಿವಿಧ ಆಕರ್ಷಕ ಸ್ಕೀಮ್ಗಳು. ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ ತಡ ಯಾಕೆ? ಇಂದೇ ಭೇಟಿ ಕೊಡಿ. ನಿಮಗೊಪ್ಪುವ ಚಿನ್ನಾಭರಣ ಮನೆಗೊಯ್ಯಿರಿ. ಕೃಷ್ಣ ಜುವೆಲ್ಲರ್ಸ್, ಕೆಳಗಿನ ಮಹಡಿ, ಆಪೋಸಿಟ್ ಗೋಕುಲ್ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್, ಕೆಎಸ್ ರಾವ್ ರೋಡ್, ಹಂಪನಕಟ್ಟ, ಮಂಗಳೂರು.
84ರಿಂದ 50 kg ಬಂದೆ. ಆಮೇಲೂ ಸಣ್ಣಗೆ ಫಿಟ್ ಆಗಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾನು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು ಜೀನಿ ಸ್ಲಿಮ್. ಸಣ್ಣ ಆಗಕ್ಕೆ ಜೀನಿ ಸ್ಲಿಮ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡದೆ ಹೆಲ್ದಿನೂ ಅದೇ. ನೀವು ಸಣ್ಣ ಆಗ್ಬೇಕಾ, ಹೆಲ್ದಿ ಆಗ್ಬೇಕಾ? ಹಾಗಿದ್ರೆ ಜೀನಿ ಸ್ಲಿಮ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ. ಹೇ, ಸಣ್ಣ ಆಗೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಯಾವುದೋ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾಳೆ, ಏನಾದರೂ ಸೈಡ್ ಎಫೆಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ? ಖಂಡಿತ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಇದು ಕೆಮಿಕಲ್ ಫ್ರೀ. ಸಣ್ಣ ಆಗಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಜೀನಿ ಸ್ಲಿಮ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ. ಹೆಚ್ಚಿನ ಮಾಹಿತಿಗೆ ಕೆಳಗೆ ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ಲೇ ಆಗ್ತಿರೋ ನಂಬರ್ಗೆ ಕಾಲ್ ಮಾಡಿ.
ಆತ್ಮಶಕ್ತಿ ವಿವಿಧೋದ್ದೇಶ ಸಹಕಾರಿ ಸಂಘ ಪಡಿಲ್ ಮಂಗಳೂರು ದಕ್ಷಿಣ ಕನ್ನಡ ಹಾಗೂ ಉಡುಪಿ ಜಿಲ್ಲೆಗಳಲ್ಲಿ 33 ಶಾಖೆಗಳನ್ನು ಹೊಂದಿದ್ದು ನಿರಂತರ ರಾಜ್ಯ ಹಾಗೂ ರಾಷ್ಟ್ರೀಯ ಪ್ರಶಸ್ತಿಗಳನ್ನು ಪಡೆಯುತ್ತಿರುವ ಸಹಕಾರಿ ಸಂಘವು ಕಳೆದ 1 ದಶಕಗಳಿಂದ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಸೇವೆಯಲ್ಲಿ. ಠೇವಣಿಗಳ ಮೇಲೆ ಆಕರ್ಷಕ ಬಡ್ಡಿದರಗಳು, ವಿವಿಧ ಸಾಲ ಸೌಲಭ್ಯಗಳು, ಚಿನ್ನಾಭರಣ ಸಾಲ, ವಿಮಾ ಸೌಲಭ್ಯಗಳು ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಲಭ್ಯ. ವಾರ್ಷಿಕ 2,000 ಕೋಟಿಗೂ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ವಹಿವಾಟು ನಡೆಸುತ್ತಿರುವ ನಮ್ಮ ಸಹಕಾರಿ ಸಂಘದ ಪ್ರಧಾನ ಕಚೇರಿ ಆತ್ಮಶಕ್ತಿ ಸೌಧ, ಬೈರಾಡಿಕೆರೆ ಹತ್ತಿರ, ಪಡಿಲ್ ಮಂಗಳೂರು.
Dear viewers, you are all welcome after the break. Today's topic is American policy and its impact on global economy. We have already have in studio CA DB Mehta, economic expert, and Rajesh Rao M, banking expert. Both of you are welcome to the show after the break. To add ice on the cake, we have with us CA Rudramurthy, founder of Vachana Investment Bengaluru, as well as he has his famous YouTube channel Rudralogy. We can see him day in and day out in almost all the leading channels of our nation. He is an expert in share market for the last 2 decades. CA Rudramurthy, line ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ?
ಇದೀನಿ. ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ SS ನಾಯಕ್.
ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ನಿಮಗೆ ಹನುಮಾನ್ ಜಯಂತಿಯ ಶುಭಾಶಯಗಳು ಹಾಗೂ ನಮ್ಮ ಸೌರಮಾನ ಯುಗಾದಿ ನಾಳೆ, ಅದರ ಶುಭಾಶಯಗಳು. ಬಟ್ ದ ಮೇನ್ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಈಸ್ ಪೀಪಲ್ ಆರ್ ಅನ್ಹ್ಯಾಪಿ ನೌ ಆನ್ ದಿಸ್ ಮಂಡೇಸ್ ಬ್ಲಡ್ ಬಾತ್. 13 lakh crore loss in one day, that is erosion in stock market. So what is your opinion? And this American policy, that is tariff war, how it has impacted Indian stock market and American stock market and stock market globally, and what is the foreseeable future? Can you just brief about it?
ಓಕೆ ಸರ್, ಖಂಡಿತವಾಗ್ಲು. ಮೊದಲನೇದಾಗಿ ಹನುಮ ಜಯಂತಿಯ ಶುಭಾಶಯಗಳನ್ನ ತಮ್ಮ ವೀಕ್ಷಕರಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಕೊಡ್ತಿದ್ದೀನಿ, ಹಾಗೂ ತಮ್ಮ ಕೋ ಪ್ಯಾನಲಿಸ್ಟ್ ಎಸ್ಪೆಷಲಿ SS ನಾಯಕ್ ಸರ್ಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ನನ್ನ ಶುಭಾಶಯಗಳು. ಇವಾಗ ಶೇರ್ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ ಇಂಪ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ ಅನ್ನ ನಾವು ನೋಡ್ಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ಸರ್, ಏಪ್ರಿಲ್ 2ನೇ ತಾರೀಕು ಟ್ಯಾರಿಫ್ ಅನೌನ್ಸ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಟೈಮು ಸೋಮವಾರ ಏನ್ ನಾವು ಹತ್ತತ್ರ ಮಾರ್ನಿಂಗ್ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ ಶುರುವಾದ ಲಕ್ಷ ಕೋಟಿ ನೋಡಿದ್ರಿ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲೈಸೇಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಅದಾದ ನಂತರ ಕ್ಲೋಸಿಂಗ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ ಒಂಚೂರು ರಿಕವರಿ ಆಯ್ತು. ನೀವ್ ಹೇಳ್ದಂಗ ಒಂದು 13 ಲಕ್ಷ ಕೋಟಿಯ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲೈಸೇಷನ್ ಲಾಸ್ ಆಯ್ತು ನಮಗೆ. ಅದ್ರ ನಾವ್ ಏನ್ ಸೋಮವಾರದ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ಗೆ ಕಾರಣ ಆಗಿದ್ದು ಟ್ರಂಪಿನ ಟ್ಯಾರಿಫ್ ಅಲ್ವೇ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಚೈನಾದ ರಿಟಾಲಿಯೇಷನ್ ಏನಾಯ್ತು ವೀಕೆಂಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಆ ಶುಕ್ರವಾರದ ರಿಟಾಲಿಯೇಷನ್ ಚೈನಾ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು, ಆ ಕಾರಣದಿಂದಾಗಿ ಮೈನ್ ಆಗಿ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ ಆ ಕರೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಅನ್ನ ನೋಡ್ತು. ಆದ್ರೆ ಅದಾದ ನಂತರ ಚೇತರಿಕೆಯು ಕೂಡ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂತು. ಯಾಕೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ ಬೀಳೋದಕ್ ಮುಖ್ಯ ಕಾರಣ ಅನ್ಸರ್ಟನಿಟಿ. ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ನೆವರ್ ಎಂಟರ್ಟೈನ್ ಅನ್ಸರ್ಟನಿಟಿ. ಹಾಗೂ ಏನು ಈ ಇವರಿಬ್ಬರು ಜಗಳ ನಡೀತಾ ಇದೆ, ಓವರ್ ಆಲ್ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ಗೆ ಖಂಡಿತವಾಗ್ಲೂ ಇದು ಒಂದು ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಬೈಯಿಂಗ್ ಆಪರ್ಚುನಿಟಿ ಲಾಂಗ್ ಟರ್ಮ್ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಇತ್ತು. ಈ ಅನ್ಸರ್ಟನಿಟಿ ಎಂಡ್ ಯಾವಾಗ ಆಗತ್ತೆ ಕೂಡ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ಗೆ ಖಂಡಿತವಾಗ್ಲೂ ಇವ್ರಿಬ್ಬರಿಗೆ ಇದ್ದಿ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಏನ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟೆನ್ಷನ್ ಅನ್ನ 90 days ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟೆನ್ಷನ್ ಅನ್ನ ಟ್ರಂಪ್ ಕೊಟ್ರು, ಅದಾದ ನಂತರ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ ಒಳ್ಳೆ ರಿಕವರಿಯನ್ನು ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದೆ. ಈಗ ಈ ಇವೆಂಟ್ ಅನ್ನ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ ಇಗ್ನೋರ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಮುಂದಿನ ದಿನಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ನನ್ನ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ಇವಾಗ ಏನು TCS ನ ಕಾರ್ಪೊರೇಟ್ ಅರ್ನಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ಬಂತು, ಈ ಕ್ವಾರ್ಟರ್ ರಿಸಲ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಏನ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಬೇರೆ ಕಂಪನೀಸ್ ಗಳು, ಇವಾಗ ಇನ್ಫೋಸಿಸ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ ನಮ್ಗೆ ರಿಲಯನ್ಸ್ ಇಂಡಸ್ಟ್ರಿ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಈ ತರ ಬಿಗ್ಗರ್ ಕಂಪನೀಸ್ ಏನೇನಿದೆ, ಅದೇ ತರ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕಿಂಗ್ ಕ್ಷೇತ್ರದಲ್ಲಿ HDFC ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್, SBI ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಈ ಸಲ ಕ್ವಾರ್ಟರ್ಲಿ ರಿಸಲ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಹೇಗ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಎಸ್ಪೆಷಲಿ ಅದನ್ನ ನಾವು ನೋಡ್ಬೇಕಾಗತ್ತೆ. ಹಾಗೂ ರಿಸರ್ವ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಪಾಲಿಸಿನೂ ಕೂಡ ತುಂಬಾ ಪಾಸಿಟಿವ್ ಆಗೇನೆ ಇತ್ತು. ಏನ್ 25 ಬೇಸಿಸ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ರೇಟ್ ಕಟ್ ಅನ್ನ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಅದು ಆಸ್ ಪರ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟೇಷನ್ ಇತ್ತು. ಸೊ ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ನನ್ನ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ ಇವಾಗ ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ಇದನ್ನ ಡಿಸ್ಕೌಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದೆ ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಆಗಿ. ಮುಂದಿನ ದಿನಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಕಾರ್ಪೊರೇಟ್ ಮೇಲೆ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟಿನ ನಡೆ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಮೋರ್ ಆರ್ ಲೆಸ್ ಈ ಟ್ಯಾರಿಫಿನ ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಏನಿದೆ ಅದು ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ಡಿಸ್ಕೌಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ.
This Trump has given 90 days pause. Whether investors should also take pause or they should be active now?
ಸರ್, ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ವೆರಿ ವೆರಿ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಟೈಮ್ ಫ್ರೇಮ್ ಏನಿದೆ, ನೀವು ಶಾರ್ಟ್ ಟರ್ಮ್ ಟ್ರೇಡರಾ, ಲಾಂಗ್ ಟರ್ಮ್ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟರಾ, ಯಾವ ಶೇರ್ ತಗೊಂತಿದ್ದೀರಾ, ಯಾವ ಸೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದೀರಾ, ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ನನ್ನ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ಇಫ್ ಯು ಆರ್ ಎ ಲಾಂಗ್ ಟರ್ಮ್ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟರ್, ಅವ್ರೇನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಈ ಟ್ಯಾರಿಫ್ ರಿಲೇಟೆಡ್ ಸೆಕ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಸ್ಟಾಕ್ಸ್ ಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡೋ ಬದಲು ಯಾರು ನೀವು ತಗೊಳುವಂತ ಸೆಕ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಏನಿದೆ ಅದು ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಡಿಪೆಂಡೆಂಟ್ ಸೆಕ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಕಂಪನೀಸ್ ಇದ್ರೆ ಒಳ್ಳೇದು. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಈ ಟ್ಯಾರಿಫ್ ಇಂಪ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಈಗ ಎಸ್ಪೆಷಲಿ ನೀವು IT ಸೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಅನ್ನ ಸೆಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇನ್ ಜನರಲ್ ಆನ್ ಅನ್ ಆವರೇಜ್ 60 to 65% ರೆವಿನ್ಯೂ ಈ IT ಕಂಪನೀಸ್ಗೆ ಬರೋದೇನೆ US ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೋರ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಇಂದ. ಸೊ ಹಾಗಾಗಿ IT ಸೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಅನ್ನ ಅವಾಯ್ಡ್ ಮಾಡಿ. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಈ ಟ್ಯಾರಿಫಿನ ಭಯ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಸೆಕ್ಟರ್ IT ಸೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ IT ಸೆಕ್ಟರ್ ನ ಈ ಟೈಮಲ್ಲಿ ಅವಾಯ್ಡ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ. ಬಟ್ ಅದೇ ನೀವು ಪ್ರೈವೇಟ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಪಬ್ಲಿಕ್ ಸೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, NBFCs ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಇನ್ಶೂರೆನ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಈ ಸೆಕ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ತಾವು ಹೂಡಿಕೆ ಮಾಡೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಮೋರ್ ಅನ್ ಇಂಡಿಯನ್ ಡಿಪೆಂಡೆಂಟ್ ಸ್ಟೋರಿ. ಈ ಸೆಕ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಸ್ಟಾಕ್ಸ್ ಗಳಿಗೆ ಹೂಡಿಕೆ ಮಾಡಿ. ಮೆಟಲ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನು ಖಂಡಿತವಾಗ್ಲೂ ಅವಾಯ್ಡ್ ಮಾಡಿ. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ USA ಅಲ್ಲಿ ರಿಸೆಷನ್ ಆಗುವ ಸಾಧ್ಯತೆ ಓವರ್ 60% ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ಇವಾಗ ಏನ್ ರಿಪೋರ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಗಳು ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, ಮಾರ್ಗನ್ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾನ್ಲಿ ರಿಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಬಂದಿದೆ. ಸೊ ಆ ರಿಸೆಷನ್ ಚಾನ್ಸಸ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆದಾಗ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ ಡಿಮಾಂಡ್ ಫಾರ್ ಮೆಟಲ್ಸ್ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಮೆಟಲ್ ಸೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಅನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಜನರಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಓವರ್ ಆಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಅವಾಯ್ಡ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಬೆಟರು. IT ಅನ್ನು ಅವಾಯ್ಡ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಬೆಟರು. ಪ್ರೈವೇಟ್ ಸೆಕ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರೈವೇಟ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕಿಂಗು ಮತ್ತೆ ಪಬ್ಲಿಕ್ ಸೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕಿಂಗ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎಸ್ಪೆಷಲಿ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಆಫ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಅಥವಾ ಇವನ್ ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ನೀವು ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಆಫ್ ಬರೋಡಾ ಅಥವಾ ಕೆನರಾ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಈ ಶೇರ್ಸ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂಯೇಷನ್ ಕಂಫರ್ಟ್ ಇದೆ. ಪ್ರೈವೇಟ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎಸ್ಪೆಷಲಿ HDFC ಬ್ಯಾಂಕು, ಕೋಟಕ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್, ICICI ಬ್ಯಾಂಕು ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂಯೇಷನ್ ಕಂಫರ್ಟ್ ಇದೆ. ಸೊ ಈ ಟೈಮಲ್ಲಿ ನನ್ನ ಸಜೆಷನ್ ಏನಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ವೆರಿ ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ ಆಗಿ IT ಸೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಮೆಟಲ್ಸ್ ಸೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಅನ್ನ ಅವಾಯ್ಡ್ ಮಾಡಿ. ಪ್ರೈವೇಟ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಸ್, ಪಬ್ಲಿಕ್ ಸೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಸ್ ಎಸ್ಪೆಷಲಿ HDFC ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್, ICICI ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್, ಕೋಟಕ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್, ಅದೇ ತರ SBI, ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಆಫ್ ಬರೋಡಾ, ಕೆನರಾ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್, ಅದೇ ತರ ಇನ್ಶೂರೆನ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎಸ್ಪೆಷಲಿ HDFC ಲೈಫ್ ಮತ್ತೆ SBI ಲೈಫ್ ಎರಡೂ ಕೂಡ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿದೆ, ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂಯೇಷನ್ ಕಂಫರ್ಟ್ ಇದೆ. ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ NBFCs ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬಜಾಜ್ ಫಿನಾನ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಚೋಳಾ ಫಿನಾನ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಶ್ರೀರಾಮ್ ಫಿನಾನ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಇದು NBFCs ಖಂಡಿತವಾಗ್ಲೂ ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಸೆಕ್ಟರ್. ಮತ್ತೆ ಈ ಸ್ಟಾಕ್ಸ್ ಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಖಂಡಿತ ಫೋಕಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. ಸೊ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ಯಾಟಿಕ್ ಆಗಿ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟಿನ ಟ್ಯಾರಿಫ್ ಭಯವನ್ನ ಖಂಡಿತವಾಗ್ಲೂ ತಗೊಂಡ್ದೇನೆ ನೀವು ಸೆಕ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಸ್ಟಾಕ್ಸ್ ಇವಾಗ ಏನ್ ನಾನು ರೆಫರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ನನ್ನ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ಇವನ್ ಜನರಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಕನ್ಸ್ಯೂಮರ್ ಡಿಸ್ಕ್ರಿಷನರಿ ಸೆಕ್ಟರ್ನು, ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ FMCG ಅನ್ನ ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಆಗಿ ತಗೊಂಡ್ರು, ಅದು ಎಸ್ಪೆಷಲಿ ಬಜೆಟ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಏನ್ 12 lakh ರೂಪಾಯಿವರೆಗೂ ಇನ್ಕಮ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮ್ಷನ್ ಅನ್ನ ಏನ್ ನೀಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಅದರಿಂದ ನನ್ನ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ಇವನ್ FMCG ಅಥವಾ ಕನ್ಸ್ಯೂಮರ್ ಡಿಸ್ಕ್ರಿಷನರಿ ಸ್ಪೆಸಿಫಿಕ್ ಆಗಿ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಟೂರ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಟ್ರಾವೆಲ್ ಅನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಖಂಡಿತವಾಗ್ಲೂ ಚೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. ಇವಾಗ ಏವಿಯೇಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇಂಡಿಗೋ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಖಂಡಿತವಾಗ್ಲೂ ಇಂಡಿಗೋ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ದ ಸ್ಟಾಕ್ ಆಫ್ 2025 ಅಂತ ನಾನು ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ. ಸೊ ಇಂಡಿಗೋ ಇಸ್ ಅ ವೆರಿ ವೆರಿ ಗುಡ್ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್. ಈ ಕರೆಂಟ್ ಲೆವೆಲ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ 5,000 ರೂಪಿ, 5,200 ರೂಪಿ ಇಲ್ಲೂ ಬೈ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. ಅದಾದ ನಂತರ ನೀವು ಇಂಡಿಯನ್ ಹೋಟೆಲ್ ಇಂಡಸ್ಟ್ರಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಅದು ಕೂಡ ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಸೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಹಾಗೂ ಸ್ಟಾಕ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಲೋಕಲಿ ಡಿಪೆಂಡೆಂಟ್ ಇಂಡಿಯನ್ ಗ್ರೋತ್ ಸ್ಟೋರಿ ಮೇಲೆ ಡಿಪೆಂಡೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಟೂರ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಟ್ರಾವೆಲ್, ಇನ್ಶೂರೆನ್ಸ್, ಪ್ರೈವೇಟ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್, ಪಬ್ಲಿಕ್ ಸೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಸ್, PFCs, ಕನ್ಸ್ಯೂಮರ್ ಡಿಸ್ಕ್ರಿಷನರಿ ಮತ್ತೆ FMCG, ಅದರಲ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ ನೀವು ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಹಿಂದೂಸ್ತಾನ್ ಯೂನಿಲಿವರ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು. ಸೊ ಈ ತರ ಹೂಡಿಕೆಯನ್ನ ಮಾಡಿ IT ಮತ್ತೆ ಎಸ್ಪೆಷಲಿ US ಡಿಪೆಂಡೆಂಟ್ ಇರುವಂತ ಸೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಸ್ಟಾಕ್ಸ್ ಗಳನ್ನ ಅವಾಯ್ಡ್ ಮಾಡಿ. ಶಾರ್ಟ್ ಟ್ರೇಡರ್ಸ್ ಗೆ ನಾನು ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ ಅನ್ನ ಟೈಮ್ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೂ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ಟೈಮ್ ಸ್ಪೆಂಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಡೋಂಟ್ ಫೋಕಸ್ ಆನ್ ದ ಟೈಮ್ ಸ್ಪೆಂಟ್ ಇನ್ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ. ಸೊ ಇಷ್ಟು ಇನ್ಪುಟ್ಸ್
ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಈಗ ಕ್ರೂಡ್ ಆಯಿಲ್ ಲೋಯರ್ 60 to 62 per barrel. PCL ಕ್ರೂಡ್ ಆಯಿಲ್ ಪ್ರೈಸ್ ತುಂಬಾ ಲೋ
ವೆರಿ ವೆರಿ
ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ
ಗುಡ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್. ನಾನು ಇವಾಗ ಅವಾಯ್ಡ್ ಸೆಕ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಹೇಳಿದೆ, ಮತ್ತೆ ಯಾವ ಸೆಕ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೂಡಿಕೆ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು ಅನ್ನೋದು ಹೇಳಿದೆ. ನೀವು ಹೇಳಿರುವಂತಹ ಆಯಿಲ್ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟಿಂಗ್ ಕಂಪನೀಸ್ OMCs ಅಂತ ನಾವೇನ್ ಕರೀತೀವಿ, ಖಂಡಿತವಾಗ್ಲೂ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ವೆರಿ ವೆರಿ ಪಾಸಿಟಿವ್. ಈ ಸೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಅನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಖಂಡಿತ ಆಯ್ಕೆ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಆರ್ಡರ್ ಆಫ್ ಪ್ರಿಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ಹೇಳಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಫಸ್ಟ್ ನಾನು ಹಿಂದ್ ಪೆಟ್ರೋ ಅಥವಾ ಹಿಂದೂಸ್ತಾನ್ ಪೆಟ್ರೋಲಿಯಂ HPCL ಪ್ರಿಫರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ, ಎರಡನೇದು BPCL ಪ್ರಿಫರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ, ಮೂರನೇದು IOC ಪ್ರಿಫರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. ಖಂಡಿತವಾಗ್ಲೂ ಆಯಿಲ್ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟಿಂಗ್ ಕಂಪನೀಸ್ ಬೈಯಿಂಗ್ ಸೆಕ್ಟರ್ಗೆ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಅಂಡ್ ಈ ಕ್ರೂಡ್ ಆಯಿಲ್ ಪ್ರೈಸಸ್ ಏನು ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ಕೆಳಗಡೆ ಇದೆ. ನೀವಿಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂಲಂಕುಷವಾಗಿ ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ ಏನಾಯ್ತು ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಸೆಂಟ್ರಲ್ ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅವರು ಕ್ರೂಡ್ ಆಯಿಲ್ ಪ್ರೈಸಸ್ ಯಾವಾಗ ಅಂತಾರಾಷ್ಟ್ರೀಯ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೋ ಅವಾಗ ಗ್ರಾಹಕರಿಗೆ ಅದರ ಹೊರೆಯನ್ನ ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಬಂದ್ರು. ಯಾವಾಗ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗುತ್ತೋ ಇಮಿಡಿಯೇಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಈ ಎಕ್ಸೈಸ್ ಡ್ಯೂಟಿ ಅಂತ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಬೆಲೆನ ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಇಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂತ. ಅದ್ರ ನಾವ್ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕು. 45 days ಅವರು ಸ್ಟಾಕ್ ಹೋಲ್ಡ್ ಮಾಡೋದ್ರಿಂದ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು 45 ದಿವಸದವರೆಗೂ ಈ ಕ್ರೂಡ್ ಆಯಿಲ್ $60 ಇಂದ $65 ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಇತ್ತು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅವಾಗ ಗ್ರಾಹಕರಿಗೆ ಬೆನಿಫಿಟ್ ಕೂಡ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ 45 days ಸ್ಟಾಕ್ ಅನ್ನ ಈ OMCs ಗಳು ಮೇಂಟೈನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಇವತ್ತು ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಆವರೇಜ್ ಆಗಿ ನೀವು ನೋಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ 45 days ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕ್ರೂಡ್ ಆಯಿಲ್ ಪ್ರೈಸಸ್ $75 ಆವರೇಜ್ ಬಂದಿದೆ. ಸೊ ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಪ್ರೈಸಸ್ ಗಳು ಕನ್ಸ್ಯೂಮರ್ಸ್ ಗೆ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಆದ್ರೆ ಸ್ಟಾಕ್ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ ವ್ಯೂ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಇಂದ ನೋಡ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇವಾಗ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ತಿಂಗಳು ಅಟ್ಲೀಸ್ಟ್ ಈ $60 to $65 ರೇಂಜ್ ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಇದ್ರೆ ಅದು ಇನ್ನ OMCs ಗಳಿಗೆ ಬೆನಿಫಿಟ್ ಅನ್ನ ಕೊಡುತ್ತೆ. ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಗ್ರಾಹಕರಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಡೀಸೆಲ್ ಪೆಟ್ರೋಲ್ ದರಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಇಳಿಕೆಯ ಚಾನ್ಸಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ OMCs ಗಳಲ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ ಖಂಡಿತವಾಗ್ಲೂ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂಯೇಷನ್ ಕಂಫರ್ಟ್ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿದೆ, ಮತ್ತೆ ಲಾಂಗ್ ಟರ್ಮ್ ಸ್ಟೋರಿ ಕ್ರೂಡ್ ಆಯಿಲ್ ಇಲ್ಲೇ ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂ ಆಗೋದ್ರಿಂದ ನನ್ನ ಪ್ರಕಾರ $60 to $65 ಹತ್ರನೇ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಅಟ್ಲೀಸ್ಟ್ 1 quarter to 2 quarter ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂ ಆಗೋದ್ರಿಂದ OMCs ಬೆನಿಫಿಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ HPCL, BPCL ಮತ್ತೆ IOC ಇದೆ ಆರ್ಡರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ, ಖಂಡಿತವಾಗ್ಲೂ ಈ ಸೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಫೋಕಸ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು ಸರ್.
ಈಗ ನೀವು NBFC ಹೇಳಿದ್ರಿ, ನಾವು ಇನ್ ದಟ್ MPC ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್ ಹೆಲ್ಡ್ ಆನ್ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ವೀಕ್ ಬೈ ದ RBI governor, there are lot of regulations on regulated entities, that is on gold, this lot of rules control. Will it not affect the prices of these NBFCs and banks?
ಸರ್ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಎಸ್ಪೆಷಲಿ ಗೋಲ್ಡ್ ಫಿನಾನ್ಸಿಂಗ್ ಕಂಪನೀಸ್ ಗಳಿಗೆ ಇದರ ಇಂಪ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ನೀವು ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ ಮುತ್ತೂಟ್ ಫಿನಾನ್ಸ್ ಕಂಪನಿಯ ಶೇರ್ಗಳು ಹತ್ತತ್ರ 2 ದಿವಸದಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು 15% ಇಳಿಕೆಯನ್ನ ಕಾಣ್ತು ಈ ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಇಂದಾಗಿ. ಅದರ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಮಣ್ಣಪುರಂ ಶೇರ್ಸ್ ಗಳು ಕೂಡ ಒಂದು ಹತ್ತತ್ರ 5 to 7% ಕರೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಆಯ್ತು. ಸೊ ಜನರಲ್ ಆಗಿ NBFC ಬೇರೆ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಗೋಲ್ಡ್ ಫಿನಾನ್ಸಿಂಗ್ ಕಂಪನೀಸ್ ಬೇರೆ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ನಾನು ಗೋಲ್ಡ್ ಫಿನಾನ್ಸಿಂಗ್ ಕಂಪನಿ ಯಾವುದು ಕೂಡ ನಿಮಗ್ ಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಗೆ. ನಾನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದು ನಾನ್ ಗೋಲ್ಡ್ ಫಿನಾನ್ಸಿಂಗ್ ಕಂಪನೀಸ್ ಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಬರುವಂತ
L&T ಫೈನಾನ್ಸ್, ಟಾಟಾ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್.
ಸರ್ ಇಲ್ಲ, ನೀವ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಿರೋದು ಖಂಡಿತ ಅದು ಕೂಡ ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಸ್ಟಾಕ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. L&T ಫಿನಾನ್ಸ್ ಕೂಡ ನಾನು ಪ್ರಿಫರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. ಟಾಟಾ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ ನಾನು ಕ್ಲೋಸ್ ಆಗಿ ಟ್ರ್ಯಾಕ್ ಮಾಡೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಬಟ್ L&T ಫಿನಾನ್ಸ್ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿದೆ.
ಜಿಯೋ ಫೈನಾನ್ಸ್, ಜಿಯೋ
ಸರ್ ಇದೇನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಮೋರ್ ಆಫ್ ಅ ಮಿಡ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಸ್ಮಾಲ್ ಕ್ಯಾಪ್ ಸ್ಟಾಕ್ಸ್ ಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಆ ಸೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಐ ವಿಲ್ ಪ್ರಿಫರ್ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಬಜಾಜ್ ಫಿನಾನ್ಸ್, ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಚೋಳಾ ಫಿನಾನ್ಸ್, ಥರ್ಡ್ ಶ್ರೀರಾಮ್ ಫಿನಾನ್ಸ್. ಐ ವಿಲ್ ಸ್ಟಿಲ್ ರಿಮೈನ್. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಇವಾಗ ನಾವು ಈ ಓವರ್ ಆಲ್ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ ಕೂಡ ನೋಡಿದಾಗ ಲಾರ್ಜ್ ಕ್ಯಾಪ್ ಸ್ಟಾಕ್ಸ್ ಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ನನಗೆ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂಯೇಷನ್ ಕಂಫರ್ಟ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಕಾಣ್ತಿದೆ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ ತುಂಬಾ ಬುಲ್ಲಿಶ್ ಇದ್ದು ಯುಫೋರಿಯಾ ಇದ್ದಾಗ ಅವಾಗ ನೀವು ಮಿಡ್ ಕ್ಯಾಪ್ ಸ್ಮಾಲ್ ಕ್ಯಾಪ್ ಅನ್ನ ಜನರಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಪ್ರಿಫರ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕೆ ಹೊರತು ಇಂಥ ಟೈಮಲ್ಲಿ ಲಾರ್ಜ್ ಕ್ಯಾಪ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲೇ ನಾನು ಇರ್ತೀನಿ. ಸೊ ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ನಾನು L&T ಫಿನಾನ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಜಿಯೋ ಫಿನಾನ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಟಾಟಾ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು ಇದನ್ನ ಪ್ರಿಫರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ನಾನು ಫ್ರಂಟ್ ಲೈನ್ ಅಲ್ಲೇನೆ ಬಜಾಜ್ ಫಿನಾನ್ಸ್ ಖಂಡಿತವಾಗ್ಲೂ ಪ್ರಿಫರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. ಅನೇಕ ಜನ ನನ್ನನ್ನು ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಬಜಾಜ್ ಫಿನಾನ್ಸ್ ಯಾವುದು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಅಂತ. ನಾನು ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ ದ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಬಜಾಜ್ ಫಿನಾನ್ಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಬಜಾಜ್ ಫಿನಾನ್ಸ್. ಅನೇಕ ಜನ ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಇಂಡಿಗೋ ಯಾವುದು ಅದನ್ನ ಹೇಳಿ, ಆ ಸ್ಟಾಕ್ ಹೇಳಿ ಅಂತ. ದ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಇಂಡಿಗೋ ಇಸ್ ಇಂಡಿಗೋ, ಅದನ್ನೇ ಬೈ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ನನ್ನ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ಇಂಡಿಗೋ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಅ 5 digit ಸ್ಟಾಕ್. 10,000 ಮೇಲ್ಗಡೆನೆ ನಿಮಗೆ ಇನ್ನ 2 years ಕೊಟ್ಟರು ಕೂಡ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ 100% ರಿಟರ್ನ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಕರೆಂಟ್ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ ಪ್ರೈಸ್. ಅದೇ ತರ ಇಂಡಿಯನ್ ಹೋಟೆಲ್ ಏವಿಯೇಷನ್ ಸೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಟಾಪ್ ಸ್ಟಾಕ್ ಇದೆ. ಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ITC ಹೋಟೆಲ್ ಬೈ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು, ಬಟ್ ಸ್ಟಿಲ್ ಐ ವಿಲ್ ಪ್ರಿಫರ್ ಇಂಡಿಯನ್ ಹೋಟೆಲ್. ಸೊ ಜನರಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಈಗಿರುವ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ ಎನ್ವಿರಾನ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಕಂಡೀಷನ್ ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ ಐ ವಿಲ್ ಪ್ರಿಫರ್ ಲಾರ್ಜ್ ಕ್ಯಾಪ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಟಾಪ್ ಸ್ಟಾಕ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ ದಟ್ ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಸೆಕ್ಟರ್. I want to buy companies with high market capitalization as of now, not to go with mid cap or small cap stocks, because still valuation comfort I have in large cap. And more important enu andre sir, I want my downside to be very very limited. I am not now focusing on upside in this market environment. ಇವಾಗ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು 3 ತಿಂಗಳು 6 ತಿಂಗಳು ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ ಫಾರ್ಮೇಶನ್ ಮಾಡಿ ರಿಕವರಿ ಫೇಸ್ ಬಂದಾಗ ದೆನ್ ಐ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಶಿಫ್ಟ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಮೈ ಲಾರ್ಜ್ ಕ್ಯಾಪ್ ಸ್ಟಾಕ್ ಟು ಇವನ್ ಮಿಡ್ ಕ್ಯಾಪ್. ಈಗಿರುವ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ ಎನ್ವಿರಾನ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಫೋಕಸ್ ಶುಡ್ ಬಿ ಆನ್ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ ಸಿಟಿ. ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಫೋಕಸ್ ಆನ್ ಸ್ಟಾಕ್ಸ್ ವೇರ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಮಿನಿಮಮ್ ಡೌನ್ ಸೈಡ್ ಆರ್ ಲೆಸ್ ಡೌನ್ ಸೈಡ್. ಅಪ್ ಸೈಡ್ ಇಲ್ಲದೆ ಹೋದ್ರು ಬೇಡ, ನನಗೆ ಮಿನಿಮಮ್ ಡೌನ್ ಸೈಡ್ ಇರಬೇಕು, ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ ಪ್ರೊಟೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ವಾರನ್ ಬಫೆಟ್ ಒಂದ್ ಕಡೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ಸ್ಟಾಕ್ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ ಸಕ್ಸಸ್ ಗೆ 2 ರೂಲ್ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ರೂಲ್ 1, ಡೋಂಟ್ ಲೂಸ್ ಯುವರ್ ಹಾರ್ಡ್ ಅರ್ನ್ಡ್ ಮನಿ. ರೂಲ್ 2, ಡೋಂಟ್ ಫರ್ಗೆಟ್ ರೂಲ್ 1 ಅಂತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ ಸೇಫ್ಟಿ ಇಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಕರೆಂಟ್ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ ಎನ್ವಿರಾನ್ಮೆಂಟ್. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಐ ವಿಲ್ ಸ್ಟಿಲ್ ಪ್ರಿಫರ್ ಲಾರ್ಜ್ ಕ್ಯಾಪ್ ಸ್ಟಾಕ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ ದಿಸ್ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್. ಐ ವಿಲ್ ಸ್ಟಿಲ್ ಪ್ರಿಫರ್ ಬಜಾಜ್ ಫಿನಾನ್ಸ್, ಚೋಳಾ ಫಿನಾನ್ಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಶ್ರೀರಾಮ್ ಫಿನಾನ್ಸ್ ಓವರ್ ಅದರ್ ಸ್ಟಾಕ್ಸ್ which are more of a lower market capitalization or mid cap at current market price.
ಬಹಳ ಒಂದು ಉತ್ತಮವಾಗಿ ಈ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಶುಡ್ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಅಂತ ನೀವು ಗೈಡ್ ಮಾಡಿದಿರಿ. CA ರುದ್ರಮೂರ್ತಿ ಅವರಿಗೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಕುಡ್ಲ ವಾಹಿನಿ ಪರವಾಗಿ, ನಮ್ಮ ಸಮಸ್ತ ವೀಕ್ಷಕರ ಪರವಾಗಿ ಧನ್ಯವಾದ ಹಾಗೂ ಕೃತಜ್ಞತೆಗಳನ್ನು ಹೇಳ್ತೇವೆ. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ವೆರಿ ಮಚ್ ಫಾರ್ ಸ್ಪೆಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಯುವರ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂಯಬಲ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಡಿಸೆಮಿನೇಟಿಂಗ್ ಯುವರ್ ನಾಲೆಡ್ಜ್. Thank you.
Always my privilege to share my very small knowledge with SS Nayak and the entire team of experts which are there. Thank you so much, sir.
Thanks. ಧನ್ಯೋಸ್ಮಿ. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು. ಬಹಳ ಉತ್ತಮವಾಗಿ ರುದ್ರಮೂರ್ತಿ ಅವರು he has explained. Now it is the time to good buy, not time to good buy. Correct, no? Now what is you are also big investor in stock market.
See, what happens is, you know, the short term traders, they panic, they sell based on the news driven flow of the market. The speculators or the hedge funds or those who are dealing in F&O, for them news based driven losses will come in and they exit. So you will see wild fluctuations in the market when some negative news come into the market. For a normal investor, the horizon is not 3 months, 6 months, 1 year. But it has to be minimum 5 years, preferably 15 years or 20 years. So for them, this is not the time to panic. This is the time to perhaps add a little more. Because if you look at the broad parameter of Indian economy, we are still in a positive cycle. US may look to you more like entering a negative cycle, where the growth rate comes down, inflation goes up, unemployment increases, and it's a negative cycle. India still remains in a positive cycle, where our growth rate will be robust, our employment will be going up, our interest rates will be coming down, our inflation will be down. Now see, we are a more import dependent country. All the commodity prices have come down. That will put a downward pressure on the further prices of products in India, which is good for our inflation coming down. So with that confidence only, he has reduced 0.25 basis, 25 basis in the last policy.
Correct.
So India is still on the downward trend of interest rate and inflation.
But GDP they have downsized by 0.2%.
See, 0.2%, 0.5%,
6.7 to 6.5.
we have to understand is a direct negative impact based on the policy. There can be indirect positive impact based on the same policy. Now, indirect positive impact has not been calculated. I won't be surprised that first 2 quarters of this year, we may see a negative impact, but the last 2 quarters of the year, I may see a positive impact.
Okay.
Because of various, the way the world is, the tariff is put on different countries who are Indian competitors by the USA vis-a-vis the tariff which is put on India, maybe we may have an added advantage. Maybe our tariffs may be lower compared to others. We may be able to export more. We may be the first country to sign a free trade agreement with the USA. Our issues may get resolved much faster than others. So I personally feel first 2 quarters there may be slight negative impact on the GDP, but the last 2 quarters will have a positive impact on the
that
GDP.
means 6.7.
So I see no downgrade in Indian GDP for the financial year.
Okay, excellent. Now we have in line CA Pratiksha Pai, finance content creator as well as founder Fintelligent Investor YouTube channel. CA Pratiksha Pai, you are on the line. Hello? Hello? Okay, you can try again, no problem, line got cut. Rajesh Rao. Now RBI has come out with the monetary policy instead of neutral stance, now accommodative stance. In the last 2 continuous 2 MPC meetings in February and in April, they have reduced repo by this is 250 basis points in successive this, and given indication that in the future, near future, there will not be increase in the this, either it will be it is always accommodative for the time being. That indication has also been given by RBI governor. How it will impact on our economy? Before that, we will have CA Pratiksha Pai, founder of Fintelligent Investor, that is YouTube channel, as finance content creator. CA Pratiksha Pai, line alidira?
ಹೌದು ಸರ್, ನಮಸ್ತೆ.
Namaste. I have seen a few of your videos regarding this Trump and a lot of finance related to finance and investments. Now there was 90 days pause by Trump in the last week, correct, no?
Yes.
Why he took a pause when he was such a bold person? Why he took a pause for 90 days? And what are the implications and intricacies of this 90 days pause on US tariff? Can you just brief?
Yes, sir. So April 2nd ಗೆ tariff announcement ಬಂದಿತ್ತು, and globally stock market started to fall, including USA. Now what happened is that April 9th ಗೆ Trump comes out and says that we will put a 90-day pause on almost 75 countries except China. And our announcement ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರಂದ್ರೆ, we want to incentivize the countries who have come to the negotiating table, whereas we want to kind of punish China for showing an continued aggression and for having low lack of respect for the stock markets anta heli. But this is not actually what has happened. Something has happened on April 8th and April 9th, because of which Trump has gone ahead and put up this 90-day pause. Adadad ಏನಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, there was a rise in the bond yields, US Treasury bond yields. So April 2nd ಗೆ the bond yields were around 4.17%, but eventually April 4th it dropped to 3.96%, and then in the following week it takes to 4.34%. ನಾನೀಗ ಬರೀ ಪರ್ಸೆಂಟೇಜಸ್ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಏನ್ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀನಿ ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಲೆಟ್ ಅಸ್ ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ಬಾಂಡ್. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಬಾಂಡ್ ಏನಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ಆಸ್ ವಿ ಆಲ್ ನೋ, ಗೌರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಸುಮಾರಷ್ಟು ಸೆಕ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆಂಡಿಚರ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ. ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಇನ್ಫ್ರಾಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಸೋಷಿಯಲ್ ಸೆಕ್ಯೂರಿಟಿ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಡಿಫೆನ್ಸ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು. ಸೊ ಗೌರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಹತ್ರ ಹಣ ಎಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಬರುತ್ತೆ? ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಇಂದ ಹಣ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಬಟ್ ಗೌರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಸ್ಪೆಂಡ್ಸ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಮನಿ? ನೋ. But government also borrows from the market by issuing bonds. And in return, for the people who have purchased the bonds, they get an interest amount on that bond. Basically, government is taking a loan. Now, why are bonds important? Because government needs this money for its various expenditures.
Correct.
So, bonds are always also considered a safer asset class as compared to shares. ಈಗ ಏನಾಯ್ತು, April 2nd ಗೆ once the tariff started, stock market started to fall. So the meaning of this was that investors were taking money out of stock market and investing in bond market, okay, to park their money into safer asset classes. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಬಾಂಡ್ ಇದು ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟ್ ರೇಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲ, yield ರೇಟ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಹೋಯ್ತು. Now there is one thing very basic understanding, let's understand the basics in the bond market. If I have a bond worth $50 and say the interest is 10%, okay, ಅಂದ್ರೆ interest amount ಎಷ್ಟಾಯ್ತು, 50 into 10% is $5. Now ಈಗ ಬಾಂಡಿಗೆ ಡಿಮಾಂಡ್ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಆಯ್ತು, ಆವಾಗ ನಾನು $50 ಇದು ಬಾಂಡ್ $40 ಮಾರಿದೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ನನ್ನಿಂದ ಯಾರು ಪರ್ಚೇಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಅವರು ಬಾಂಡ್ $40 ಪರ್ಚೇಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಬಟ್ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಎಷ್ಟು ಸಿಗುದು, $5. ಈಗ 5 divided by 40 ಎಷ್ಟಾಯ್ತು, 12.5%. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಬಾಂಡ್ ಇದು $50 ಇರುವಾಗ yield was 10%, ಬಟ್ ಅದ್ರ ಬೆಲೆ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಆದಾಗ $40 ಬಂದಾಗ yield ಏನಾಯ್ತು, ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಯ್ತು. ಸೊ ಬಾಂಡ್ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ yield ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಬಾಂಡ್ ಇದು ಬೆಲೆ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ. ಸೊ ಐದರ್ ದೇರ್ ಆರ್ ನೋ ಬಯರ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಪೀಪಲ್ ಹೂ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಬಾಂಡ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಸೆಲ್ಲಿಂಗ್ ಆಫ್. ಹಾಗೆ ಏಪ್ರಿಲ್ 2 ಅಲ್ಲಿ the yield stood at 4.17%, but it started to drop. When a bond yield starts to drop, it means the bond prices are increasing, which is a good thing. Okay, so April 4th it fell to 3.96%. So everything was going good in the bond market, as was the expectation. But suddenly April 9th bond prices, bond yields rose to 4.34%. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಬಾಂಡ್ ಪ್ರೈಸಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ತುಂಬಾ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಡಿಕ್ರೀಸ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಂತ. ವೈ? ದೇರ್ ವರ್ 2 reasons. One was lack of buyers, second was people who had bonds were selling it. So what happened on April 8th? April 8th ಗೆ US Treasury ಇಂದ $58 billion ಇದು ಬಾಂಡ್ಸ್, 3-year Treasury bonds auction ಗೆ ಬಂತು. But only 80% of it was sold. Rest 20%, 20.7% ಏನಾಯ್ತಂದ್ರೆ whatever of the offering was unsold, the US banks had to purchase it. So this was bringing us stress on the banks. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ liquidity crunch ಬರ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು. Okay, so then what happened is that they got to know that there are no enough buyers, and buyers ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಡಿಮಾಂಡ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಬಾಂಡ್ ಪ್ರೈಸಸ್ ಡಿಕ್ರೀಸ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ. ಡಿಕ್ರೀಸ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ yield ಇನ್ಕ್ರೀಸ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ. Now we should understand one more thing, especially country like US ಗೆ ಯಾವತ್ತು US bonds ಗೆ buyers short ಇರೋದಿಲ್ಲ, because dollar is a global reserve currency. For example, India perspective ಇಂದ ನೋಡ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ we need dollars not only to import goods from USA, but we also need dollars to import goods from China. We also need dollars to import goods from some other countries. So every country needs to have dollar reserves. And how do they build their dollar reserves? By purchasing US bonds. Now what happened? There was no bonds because and actually if I have to tell, India holds around $225 billion worth of dollar reserves. China also has $760 billion, and the country that holds the most in the world is Japan with $1.08 trillion. ಈಗ ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಚೈನಾ ಹತ್ರ ಅದು ಒಂದು ವೆಪನ್ ಇದೆ, ಏನಂದ್ರೆ ಅವರು ಜಸ್ಟ್ US ಡಾಲರ್ ಬಾಂಡ್ಸ್ ಸೆಲ್ ಆಫ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇ US economy. And so what happened, these countries abstained from buying the US bonds. On the other side, what happened, there was a sell off as well. First ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಬೈ ಮಾಡಲಿಲ್ಲ, ಮತ್ತೆ ಯಾರ ಹತ್ರ ಇತ್ತು ಬಾಂಡ್ಸ್, ದೇ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟೆಡ್ ಡಂಪಿಂಗ್ ದೀಸ್ ಬಾಂಡ್ಸ್, ಎಸ್ಪೆಷಲಿ ಲಾರ್ಜ್ ಹೆಡ್ಜ್ ಫಂಡ್ಸ್. ಈಗ ಹೆಡ್ಜ್ ಫಂಡ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ದೇ ವಿಲ್ ಲೆವರೇಜ್, they will have leveraged positions. So ನಾನು ಒಂದು ಈಸಿ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಕೊಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ,
let us brief this discussion. We will have separate one session on this now what is the pause and that you can brief and close.
So basically, net ಏನಾಯ್ತು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಬಯರ್ಸ್ ಇರ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ, ಯಾರು ಬಾಂಡ್ ಹೋಲ್ಡರ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ರು ಅವ್ರು ಕೂಡ ಸೆಲ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು, and that is why the bond market fell. And when bond market falls, it stresses out the banks, US banks and the US insurance companies, who can face a liquidity crunch, and that can lead to the collapse of an entire economy. And that is when US Secretary of Treasury Scott Bessent and other experts in the US markets and the corporate leaders, they came to Trump and they told him that no, you have to put a pause so that the markets will stabilize, and majorly the bond markets. And that is the reason why the 90-day pause on tariffs was issued. And now in 90 days they want to crack 90 deals, and I don't know how that will go. So in the Bollywood there is one dialogue, पड़ से डर नहीं लगता साहब, प्यार से डर लगता है. आगे टैरिफ से डर नहीं लगता साहब, पॉज और नेगोशिएशन से डर लग रहा है अभी, बिकॉज 90 days ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನ್ ಡೀಲ್ಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ವೇರ್ ವಿಲ್ ವಿ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್, ವಿಲ್ ಇಟ್ ಬಿ ಫಾರ್ ಬೆಟರ್ ಆರ್ ಫಾರ್ ದ ವರ್ಸ್ is not known. Even though there is a pause, we are not paying 26%, but we are still on the 10% radar, and we need to see how that goes.
Okay, thank you very much for your very good explanation on this pause and US bonds. Let us have a separate one session on that. Thank you for being with us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now what is your
See, I'll just add one thing what Pratiksha has so very lucidly explained about how the bond shook up the US Fed Reserve and then the US government. Another aspect of it was fall in the dollar. See, on the 2nd of February, the dollar index was 109.75. On the 8th of April, it had come down to 99. It made a low of 99 but closed at 99.9. In this last 2 months, dollar has also fallen by 10%. Now this is one of the very quickest fall in dollar, up to 10% in a matter of 2 months. So what happens is, one feeds on the other. The dollar falls, the bond falls, the yield goes up, the yield required to pay to buy new bonds goes up. That creates another further liquidity crunch, which brings in dollar further down. So between the dollar and bond, US would have got caught in a negative cycle. One would have led to the crash of the other. So to stop that, this was very, very required. And what happens in the financial world, everything is liquidity driven.
Whether Trump has not thought about all this aftermath effects?
No, he didn't think how this will play out, because he didn't wait and look at the impact of the announcements that will have. He only announced it because he thought it is required based on various other parameters which we had discussed, but he didn't think about how it will impact the various markets and the economy of the US. So this was a knee-jerk reaction kind of a policy. I want to do it immediately. That kind of a thought process was there. So this was all not thought about at all. Now what happens is, if the Trump had not reversed this policy, you may well know on the 7th of April he said he has no thought process of giving any pause. Within 2 days he reversed it, because in liquidity issues 2 days can be too much. If bond yield had gone to 5% in the next 2 days and dollar had come down to 95 in the next 2 days, a few banks would have failed in the US, and that can create a cascading effect on the entire financial segment, and then it is too late. See, once that domino effect starts unfolding itself, nothing can stop it.
Now US is in now double-edged sword then.
It is on a double-edged sword, and which way it will cut, only time will tell.
Okay, it will cut.
It will cut, but
Definitely.
which way it will cut, time will tell.
Okay.
So during this MPC year, 0.5% reduction in rates. Then 3-4 factors for that. One is the exports. We have record exports now, 820 billion. We are going to be targeting 2030 around 2 trillion. So for that we need cheap credit. So maybe one of the reason we need to export more. Second, the inflation is under control. It is less than 3.5 to 4%. That range is there, less than 4%. Third is the monsoons. The IMD is
normal monsoon is
normal
expected.
monsoons and good kharif and all these things. Fourth thing. Second thing is cheap credit. Availability of credit is very important. When all the external the requirement
Provided banks should pass on to the customers.
So that they will do it because Mudra loans, for example, Modi ji was telling it in a very 52 crore people are benefited from Mudra loans.
Earlier, before giving Mudra loans also up to 10 lakhs, Reserve Bank of India circular was that without collateral up to 10 lakhs they used to give.
They say within 1 minute 100 loans are sanctioned. So initiative.
Yeah, definitely.
So for that you have cases, rates also.
Okay. Now sum up.
See, just to add one more thing, the two countries have been most negatively impacted. One is China, one is US. And the trade war is primarily between these two countries.
They are between the devil and deep sea.
Yeah, it's reflected in their currency valuation.
Whether India is between devil and deep sea?
India, the best of India is it has an advantage both against China and against US. So India will be in a sweet spot, and that is reflected in the Indian rupee valuation also. That's reflected in the Indian stock market valuation also. If you look at Indian stock market from the 2nd of April, the fall happened and rupee has strengthened. We are just 2% minus for the international investors. Whereas for US, they are 10% minus for the international investors.
Oh my God.
So it is reflected.
More FIIs will come to India now.
More FIIs will come to India. That's why I said that the turbulence what we see will be just for 1 quarter or 2 quarters max for Indian economy. I see little slowdown in our GDP, but the last 2 quarters of the financial year, I see an uptick in the economy, I see an uptick in the stock market, I see inflation lowering, I see rate of interest lowering. We are in an absolutely beautiful switch cycle.
Will you agree the views of Rudramurthy, some stock tips he has given?
I am not an expert to comment on individual stock, but I personally can say as an investor myself that use the falls. You may get more negative news coming from the US. Maybe market may have more knee-jerk reaction. Use all negative days to add up more into your portfolio. And as Rudramurthy has rightly said, that when there is volatility, stay away from small cap and mid cap because they will fall 10, 15, 20% in a day.
Don't take a pause then.
Yeah,
like Trump.
Yeah, don't take a pause. Keep buying, keep investing. If you have more liquidity, invest little more. Don't borrow and invest. Use your savings to invest.
Okay, thank you. What about your final sum up?
I think there is going to be a trade pact with all the major nations, around 75 countries. He said he is in talks with the Trump. That is going to happen. This will be there, this will remain after 90 days, this will remain only with China. No other country needs to be afraid of this. And especially for India, it is a very good position. We can improve, we can achieve all our parameters, future targets. We can go for high-end product, technology products, for example. We can enhance our capacities, especially in semiconductors, in electronics. Say, for example, Apple iPhones. They say 50% of the global exports will be sourced from India, he says. So all these opportunities are huge for the Indian economy. Our MNCs will come to India. China will be weakened. China definitely will be weakened. Already there is a lot of problems in China. So many factories are being closed down. So many stocks are still unsold. Months together salaries are not paid.
Oh my God.
To laborers. Laborers are crying. Banks are closing down, real estate prices are coming down. There are 60 crore houses, they say they have been demolished. They are called as ghost flats. So there are lots of problems in China.
Ghosts are staying or?
No, it is vacant, all vacant, no buyers. EMIs they cannot pay, NPAs are shooting up. There is lots of problems in China. China is going to suffer a lot. India is to gain a lot.
I'll just add a caveat. Anything what we have spoken, discussed, if it is viewed negatively by any country, it is only to help people to understand what is happening in the world and how it will impact India's economy and how it will impact the investments of the individuals.
Correct.
There is no negative stand against any country or against
And
any administration.
opinion expressed by us based on the present circumstances.
circumstances.
Without any bias.
Without any bias.
Based on news reports.
Okay. So it is an excellent, because everybody was in tension. So during pause also, whether they have to take a pause or they should be aggressive, that also they were confused. Now all our matters have been clarified by our two experts, CA DB Mehta, economic expert, as well as Rajesh Rao M, banking expert. On behalf of our viewers, I thank you very much for disseminating your knowledge with our viewers and enriching their present circumstances, how they should act, especially American policy and its impact on global economy. Of course, we have not covered the entire syllabus, but we have covered many. We thank CA Rudramurthy also disseminating his expertise, as well as CA Pratiksha Pai also giving thought on bonds. On behalf of our viewers, we thank them also. Vikshakare, do you have finance, taxation, business confusion? We will give you Namma Kudla Business Tonic solution. ಈ ವಾರದ ಇವತ್ತಿನ ಸಂಚಿಕೆ ಇದೇ ಬುಧವಾರ ರಾತ್ರಿ 9:30 ಗಂಟೆಗೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಕುಡ್ಲ 24/7 ಈ ವಾಹಿನಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಮಗದೊಮ್ಮೆ ಮರುಪ್ರಸಾರದಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು ನೋಡಬಹುದು. ಆಲ್ ಅವರ್ ಎಪಿಸೋಡ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಅಪ್ಲೋಡೆಡ್ ಇನ್ ಯೂಟ್ಯೂಬ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ. ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ವಾಚ್ ಆಲ್ ದ 313 ಎಪಿಸೋಡ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ ಯೂಟ್ಯೂಬ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ. ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಸೌರಮಾನ ಯುಗಾದಿ ಹಾಗೂ ವಿಶು ಹಬ್ಬದ ಶುಭಾಶಯಗಳನ್ನು ಹೇಳಿ, ಐ ಆಮ್ CA SS ನಾಯ್ಕ್ signing off. Thank you.
ಸಮಾರಂಭ ಯಾವುದಾದ್ರೇನು, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಸಂಭ್ರಮ ಹೆಚ್ಚಿಸಲು ನಾವು ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ ಸಿದ್ಧ. ಸಾಂಪ್ರದಾಯಿಕ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಲೇಟೆಸ್ಟ್ ಡಿಸೈನ್ಗಳ ಮಹಾ ಸಂಗ್ರಹ, ನಿಮಗೊಪ್ಪುವ ಉಡುಗೆಗಳು ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಬೆಲೆಯಲ್ಲಿ, ಗುಣಮಟ್ಟದಲ್ಲಿ ನೋ ಕಾಂಪ್ರಮೈಸ್. ನೀವಿಟ್ಟ